2, 1. All right, welcome to the Saturday Morning Movie Podcast, Episode 2. Today we're talking Attack of the Clones.
Yeah.
Now, when's the last time that you saw Attack of the Clones before we did the rewatch?
Honestly, dude, I try to avoid this one because it's never been my favorite one. Phantom Menace I always preferred, so if I had to guess, probably it's been at least like 5 years.
Yeah. I've seen it a little more recently, because I've had a little more appreciation for it, especially recently. I think the last time I watched it, I thought that this one was better than the last one. We'll talk more about our final thoughts later, but
Yeah.
how you doing, man? How's your week been? Any new media or anything like that?
It's been pretty good. Work, work is work.
Yeah.
As far as media, I just watched Deadpool 2 again. Not a classic. I like that movie a lot.
Yeah, do you like it better than the first one, you think, or?
I think there are some things I like better.
Yeah.
But if we're just talking the movie as a whole, I would say I prefer the first one a little bit.
Okay.
But like I said, there are some. I think the second one is funnier.
Okay, yeah. I haven't seen the second one. I've only seen it once since we watched it in theaters.
The second one is the jokes are way funnier, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But the first one has a better pace. It just has a better flow.
Sure.
But yeah, I mean, it was good. It was good. I watched it a couple of days ago, and then besides that, just been playing Witcher 3.
Oh yeah.
Which is a lot. I've been replaying it, I should say, because I started it a couple years ago, and I just it fell off for me.
Yeah.
And now that I'm older, I have more patience.
Yeah.
That's a long fucking game.
And yeah.
Now I'm definitely more into it. I'm gonna take my time with it this time. So.
Yeah.
What about you, man?
So I'm still trying to watch as many movies as I can from last year because I'm coming out with that top 20 list probably soon on TikTok or something. I've seen most of the releases I wanted to see. A couple ones I just didn't get around seeing was The Boy and the Heron, The Zone of Interest, and then American Fiction. Those were the big ones. They all just came out around my wedding and my honeymoon and shit like that. I got married back in December.
Yep.
So I just never got to the theater to see them, but I've seen most stuff I wanted to see. I just rewatched Dawn of the Planet of the Apes.
That's a good one.
The second one in the trilogy.
Yeah.
To me, and I said this in my Letterboxd review, it's very, very comparable to the first Avatar. I think in terms of visual spectacle, it might be better in terms of the VFX because obviously it's almost 10 years later, but
the monkey effects.
Yeah, the monkey, good monkeys, and
good monkeys.
And I think it kind of just dives in with it, all in with its tone. It doesn't give a fuck. There's a monkey with machine guns on a horse. Fucking
no, it's all in.
Yeah, and I think just even the story, a lot like Avatar, is very human, and I think it's just one of the better action movies of the 2010s.
Agreed.
Underrated. Yeah, Matt Reeves can do no wrong.
Apparently.
I haven't been playing any new games, dude. Same shit I always play. Yeah. My sports games.
You gotta get into more of the story.
Yeah,
games.
I know. I lack on that kind of stuff. Yeah, I mean, and then TV.
I think I don't mean to cut you off, but I think a good mindset that I put myself in, to play especially story games, is you should just play it with no time limit in mind.
Yeah.
So even if you turn on and play for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
You have to just be okay with that.
Yeah, I think the last story game that I seriously played was Hogwarts Legacy, and that got old after a while.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I want to talk about that, but we.
That's maybe for another day.
We don't have to, but
yeah.
All I'll say about that game is the initial start of that game, you were just all in. Yeah. And then it did not take long for me to lose interest.
Yeah, I got pretty repetitive.
Yeah.
The gameplay and things like that. And once you learned all the spells, it's you're just OP.
Yeah.
I think me personally, I don't it shouldn't have been a Souls game necessarily, but the difficulty should have been a little higher. It was almost too easy.
It was very easy.
In terms of TV, me and my wife just watched Normal People. It's a mini series on Hulu.
I've heard of that.
Yeah, it's Paul Mescal. Daisy Edgar Jones. It's a romance kind of thing, but it'll piss you off, dude. It's very infuriating, very good
in a good way.
No, it makes you have certain expectations and things, and they set up things to be, but it just kind of fuck your expectations.
Wow.
The show, that's what the show does to you.
Okay.
I started the Percy Jackson series. I want to keep watching. I watched the first 2 episodes.
I haven't heard very good things.
I got to finish it just because I loved the books when I was a kid.
Yeah, they're good books.
But I don't know, man. Just the pacing is so weird, even in the first 2 episodes. So
Okay.
I've heard good things about the end, so I think I'll power through. Me personally. I'm very bad at watching TV shows.
Yeah,
like,
me
watching
too.
movies is easier for me than starting a show.
Like, dude, I know the last episode I mentioned. I started watching The Sopranos.
Mhm.
I haven't watched any more.
Yeah,
and
like
it's like I just don't know what it is. Like,
Yeah.
I would rather watch a movie.
yeah.
I mean,
I can play like I've been watching Curb Your Enthusiasm.
great show.
Yeah, so I just play that kind of in the background, and it's just
But see, that's one of those shows that you can just throw on.
Yeah,
because it's like each episode they're not really connected, and it's
I say that, but I say I throw it on in the background, but I'm literally sitting watching. Like I cannot put something on in the background. I have to be invested.
You have to be watching.
Yeah.
For me, my show that's like that is Always Sunny.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I always throw it on. I just watched the Serial Defense.
yeah, that's good.
Which was like one of our favorite episodes, like growing up.
Yeah,
where they just are debating on like who should pay for the damages to Dennis's car. But anyway,
all right. So Attack of Clones.
Yeah.
We talked briefly.
I took notes.
Yeah, so he took notes. I took notes on the last one.
Because the reason I took notes is because for whatever reason, this is my least favorite one of the 3 prequels.
Yeah.
And for the longest time, that's what's been in my head.
Sure.
Like, this is the worst one. So I wanted to take notes just to make sure I didn't miss anything.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, after rewatching it, my opinion has changed. So
okay.
We'll get to
that. Yeah. I took notes for the Phantom Menace one. I did not take notes this time.
Yeah.
I kind of, I paid attention in things, but I was more just kind of hands off with it. Just gonna have my opinions. We talked briefly kind of about our history with it.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we'll just jump right in.
Yeah. So just to be clear, my notes are in order.
Okay.
Of the movie. So like my first couple notes are going to be from the beginning.
Yeah. So
it just goes from there.
Same kind of format as last time. We'll kind of just go through the plot beats and just jump in where we think we need to. So opening crawl. Go ahead. Yeah, man.
Yeah, so the first note I have about the opening, it's about the opening crawl. Basically, the crawl just explains that the Trade Federation is leaving the Republic,
mm-hmm.
and it's led by Count Dooku.
Mm-hmm.
And at this point, if you've never seen the movies, you don't know who Count Dooku is.
Yes.
So that's a little mystery right there.
Mm-hmm.
And then also explains that Padme is the former queen of Naboo.
Yeah, and she's now a senator.
And she's now a senator for Naboo, which Palpatine was the senator, but now he's the chancellor.
Yes.
So she's the new senator for Naboo, and she's heading to Coruscant to sign another peace treaty.
Yeah, it's a vote to they're voting on if they should have an army of the Republic.
Yes.
If that's what they want to go. She obviously and a lot of the Naboo people don't want that. They are all about peace. And so yeah, that's kind of that's the start. I didn't have any problems with the title crawl. Once again, this is not one that I think has a bad one. I think just like the Phantom Menace, I think it kind of sets the scene how you would expect. So that leads.
What's a bad crawl to you in a Star Wars movie?
I would say The Force Awakens. From off the top of my head, I think The Force Awakens has a pretty bad title crawl.
I agree.
It's almost just like some of them can just get too exposition-y or like try to set up
too much,
or just try to be too mysterious when it doesn't need to be.
Yeah, like this crawl, there were elements of mystery, but it didn't overdo it.
And then, like, obviously, the obvious answer, Rise of Skywalker, I think, has probably the worst title crawl. But once again, I haven't seen those movies in so long. But
I'll get to those.
Off the top of my head.
But, like, general opinions on this crawl, decent.
Yeah.
Nothing to write home about, but not terrible.
No, definitely not. So, then that leads us into the opening scene, which is you see Padme's ship is coming into Coruscant. It's kind of like a foggy day.
Super foggy.
And, dude, I don't know if you noticed, but the guard guy with the eye patch, you see only the back of Padme's head, right?
Yeah.
It's her voice, though.
It's her voice. They ADR'd her voice.
I know, and I'm like...
to trick you.
Yeah, it's like, I get it, but it's just...
Because Padme's actually wearing a helmet.
Yeah, she's actually disguised as one of the security...
But it's like, dude, they did that fucking shit in Phantom Menace. They're still going with the whole body double thing.
I know, and she's a senator.
She's not the queen anymore,
she's
so
a
why
senator.
does she need the body double?
I don't know if that's just standard practice on Naboo.
for Naboo people, I guess.
I didn't see Senator Palpatine's fucking body double.
Yeah,
anywhere.
where's his body double?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So then they land on Coruscant, and then
the ship gets blown up.
Yes.
Seemingly no one cares about this ship being blown up. Like I'm not talking about the characters we see. I'm talking about like any like there's no guards, no security.
Yeah, it is like a foggy day, so maybe it's kind of hidden. It's cloaked, I guess. I give
like
them the benefit of the doubt.
No one hears that.
Yeah,
All right, whatever. But then so then like the bodyguard and the body double for Padme is laying on the ground dying. Then it's revealed that Padme was actually when wearing the helmet. She comes over and they have this little exchange, and the bodyguard is like, "Well, we still have to continue with our mission."
Yeah, we got to get out of here. I can't remember his name.
Fuck if I know.
Yeah, he's some
eye patch guy.
New Zealand. Yeah, eye patch guy. Eye patch guy tells her we got to get out of here. It's not safe.
Yeah.
And that is when we cut to, I believe it's the meeting, right, with Padme and all the Jedi and Palpatine.
Yeah, Palpatine's talking to Mace Windu and Yoda, and a couple other like B-team Jedi that are just there.
And this is kind of where they set up that Mace Windu says we're not soldiers.
Yeah.
We're keepers of the peace.
Yeah.
We'll get to that later because I have a lot to say about that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so and then Padme comes in, and then they're all like, "Oh man, I can't believe you got attacked." And then who says the spice mine line?
Okay, so I wrote this down because I've never, out of all the times I've seen this movie, there's this super throwaway line, and really it has nothing to do with the rest of the movie. I just thought it was interesting, and I wrote it down. I think it was either Palpatine or one of the other
the blue guy.
Maybe it was the blue guy.
Yeah.
It was one of the Senate people.
Yeah,
it wasn't the Jedi. At least I don't remember it being one of the Jedi.
Mm-mm.
They say, because Palpatine says some comment about, "Oh, we're glad you're okay."
And she says that she thinks it's Count Dooku.
Padme says, "I think Count Dooku's behind this."
Yeah.
Then Yoda says, or it was Yoda or Mace Windu was like, "No, Count Dooku."
It's Mace Windu.
Mace Windu is
like, it's not in his character.
It's not in his character. He used to be a Jedi. Okay,
yeah.
He used to be a Jedi. Why wouldn't he do that now? Anyway,
yeah.
And I believe it's either Palpatine or one of the senators. They say, like, "Oh, it's probably a disgruntled spice mine employee that planned the attack."
Yeah.
What?
I don't know where that came from. It's such a throwaway line, but
why?
What does she have to do with that? We have no clue.
It's politics that they never explain again,
which is a lot of this movie.
Yeah.
So then Palpatine suggests that she needs security.
And who's up for the task?
Obi-Wan and Anakin.
Well, they mentioned Obi-Wan, but Anakin obviously is
it's his Padawan.
Right,
so then,
and Obi-Wan Kenobi just got back from a border dispute.
Yes.
So he's fresh for a new mission.
Yeah, so then that leads us to them in the elevator where we're introduced to the new Anakin.
The new Anakin. Not little Annie.
He's all grown up. And then
Hayden.
Yeah, and so then this is where we get it. They're in the elevator, they're talking about, he's so nervous to see her. And then when they meet finally, Padme, it's just like you have to forget about the Phantom Menace, because in the Phantom Menace you have this little boy and this teenager, and now it's like, how old is he supposed to be?
The only important thing from Phantom Menace that you need to remember is that Obi-Wan is Anakin's master.
Yeah, but I'm talking about just like
and Jar Jar,
the age thing.
He's so important, as we will find.
Oh, my cat's food just went off.
That's okay.
Yeah, but yeah. So
and the age thing is weird.
It's just like So
it's supposed to be 10 years.
So he's supposed to be 20.
Yeah, he's supposed to be 20.
And then I think Padme's supposed to be 25, 26. Yeah. But it's just like...
Which, I mean...
That makes sense. But then you also have to believe that she also forgot about that she was talking to a little boy. So you just have to assume she's a groomer at this point.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's just... Because I don't know how you could... You remember this person from your past who was a child, and now you're like, oh... He's kind of hot, like, because it's clear even from the beginning that she kind of fancies him a little bit. I mean, like, I don't know how with some of the shit they start saying.
Well, I mean, I don't know. In my opinion, when they first meet, it seems like she couldn't give a fuck about him.
Yeah, but then but later on, when they're about to go out into the fucking arena, she kind of admits that she's always been thinking about him, which is weird still.
So she has also been thinking about him. She's just better at hiding it than Anakin.
Yeah, that's what I think.
Anakin's a fucking idiot.
Yeah, so and then we need to get into that.
Okay, yeah. So you get Anakin Obi-Wan banter in the elevator, right?
Like
they set up their relationship. You know, oh, you got the cocky young Jedi with the more experienced wise Jedi.
But is it really? Because I think it's the cocky, arrogant, childish Anakin, and then the like
cocky, arrogant master.
I think that honestly, it's not a. And this is the thing with George Lucas. That's not a bad idea. To where like, oh yeah, Obi-Wan is also just not that good of a master at this point.
Which I think is the point.
But the thing is though, that is the point. But then it goes back to the Phantom Menace problem, where it's who am I rooting for then?
Mm-hmm.
Because you don't really like Anakin in this movie.
You're supposed to, though.
Do you like him?
No,
I don't like him either. I think
he has moments where I agree with his decision making, but there's a lot of moments where I disagree.
Yeah, and then Obi-Wan I think is more likable, definitely, but he doesn't have any.
You don't really root for Anakin until Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah, and
we'll get to that when we watch that.
Yeah,
but as far as Attack of the Clones, Anakin, not good.
And Obi-Wan.
And Obi-Wan's a fucking dick.
But and he's a little more likable, but the problem is that he just has nothing invested in this story.
Right.
He's just solving the mystery because that's what he was told to do.
Right.
So it's like he doesn't have any stake in the story until the end.
Yeah.
And so it's the whole time, and we'll get more into it, but it's just right from the beginning you're introduced to them, and you have to decide as the audience, okay, like who is our sticking point, because in the last movie it was kind of Qui-Gon, and you think
I think this movie there's more of a clear character or multiple characters you're supposed to be rooting for.
Yeah, but I just don't root for them.
Yeah,
because I like I said, at least Anakin, I don't like him, but he kind of has Padme, who is his driving force in this movie and in later movies. But this is a whole thing.
So like their banter in the elevator, they pretty much set up right away that Anakin is like obsessed with Padme because he's freaking out.
He hasn't stopped thinking about her for 10 years.
Yeah, every day he dreams about her.
Yeah.
Little weird. Obi-Wan, okay. This bothers me through the whole fucking movie. Obi-Wan clearly is aware.
You got the Obi-Wan haircut, dude. I just realized.
Yeah,
Attack of the Clones haircut.
Yeah. Fuck. Obi-Wan is clearly aware of Anakin's obsession with Padme, and he does nothing about it.
Yeah, he kind of more just like,
you're sweating, relax. That's all he tells him.
He does a lot of
Take a deep breath.
He does a lot of
he brushes it off.
No, he does a lot of general things like clear your mind.
Yeah,
like just be straight up with him, dude, and tell him like stop thinking about Padme.
He's being too broad. In a Jedi way, like
and you could argue, okay, that's what he thinks he's supposed to do because that's what Qui-Gon did. But once again, it comes back to the fact where you can't have, and this is my biggest problem with this movie. We'll get more into it. Is everybody can't be stupid. You can't have everybody in the movie be an idiot.
Well, the one character that's supposed to be smart, Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
He doesn't give Anakin good guidance.
Yeah.
He really doesn't.
Okay, so then they come out of the elevator.
We're getting hung up on that.
Yeah, so and then they exchange with Padme, and she doesn't really want security, and Obi-Wan assures her that we'll be invisible.
Yeah. One of my notes I have here. So the council sends them as just protection.
Yes.
For Padme, and they say nothing about finding out anything.
Yeah.
Just protect her, okay?
Yeah.
That's what Obi-Wan says. We're here just to protect you. We're not here actually, because Padme says, "Oh, I need to find out who is doing this."
Yeah.
And Obi-Wan says, "I'm basically apologizing me like, oh, you know what? We're not here to find anything out. We're just here for protection." Then the next line from Anakin is, "We'll find out who it is."
Yeah.
And then that's when him and Obi-Wan get into an argument in front of Padme.
Yeah, and so then they get an argument in front of everybody in the room.
Yeah.
And honestly,
Jar Jar's there too, by the way.
Yeah, can't forget about that. But just as much as I think Anakin is out of line, I also think that Obi-Wan is out of line for like berating him in front of
scolding him in front of everyone.
Yeah, I mean, like it's just so awkward. And this happens multiple times throughout the movie where these little arguments just in front of people, and and if you were one of those people, you'd be like, "What the fuck, dude?"
Yeah.
Like, and
honestly, I could see why Anakin has such a resentment for Obi-Wan because he does shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
He scolds him in front of people.
Yeah, and
he could have waited and like pulled him to the side
yeah,
after.
and so
like, hey, like let's not.
And then and once again, it's nobody's that likable in this movie.
No, not
so
really.
I
mean, even Padme, like, she is a little more likable, I think, but a lot of her choices are like very suspect.
I think she's likable, but I also think that she's given nothing in this movie to work. Natalie Portman is given zero to work with in this movie.
That's true.
I'll get more into that when we get into the romance scenes, but
yeah,
fucking Anakin, his first thing that he says there is, she says, "Oh, Annie, oh my,
you've grown,"
and he's like, "You've grown more beautiful.
You've grown too, more beautiful. I mean,
for a senator." And
for
it's
a
just
senator, what?
I mean, it's just like,
dude, the dialogue in this movie is some of the worst in the prequels. That's why I think I hated this movie for so long, is because the dialogue is so bad. It's even in Phantom Menace, some of the dialogue is better.
It's very. It almost feels like a play that they rehearse maybe one time.
Yeah.
Just the line delivery, the way just they talk to each other, like what we said. They're arguing in front of everybody, and no one has a reaction. It's so unnatural.
They're arguing. Nobody has a reaction, and then they continue
and
on
then
with what they were talking
they
about
just
before.
They just show Padme like looking at Anakin like,
yeah.
And then
why couldn't you give Padme a line like, "Oh, there's no need for that," or something?
Yeah,
like,
and
she's
then
just sitting there.
Anakin and his dialogue. The problem is that it's just fucking weird half the time.
He's very creepy,
and I really, because that's what I remember from this movie as well, how creepy it was, and I really try to just, okay, let me just watch it, see how the romance and all that unfolds, and it's still not good. I even after this watch, but so she retires, is what she says. She's gonna
retire.
She goes, lays down
to her bed, and
Anakin and Obi-Wan, they're
arguing again.
They're standing guard, and
they're basically like measuring dicks about who's more.
My senses are more attuned. Then Obi-Wan starts lecturing him about like politics. Okay, so before I get to that, so then it shows though, while they're standing guard, she turned the cameras off because she felt uncomfortable with Anakin. That's great.
Yeah, Anakin. There's a line about that.
He says that. Yeah.
He's like, she didn't like me watching her.
Yeah, I don't think she liked me watching. R2's in there, but then we also see.
But then Obi-Wan learns that him and Padme had like a little plan without him, which was that they're going to use her as bait.
I don't think she's in on it. Is she?
Anakin says a line where it's like, it was her idea.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
And then that's what Obi-Wan's like, you're using her as bait.
Yeah.
And then Anakin's like, it was her idea.
Yeah, you're right.
So, I don't know why they didn't just tell Obi-Wan.
Whatever.
Like, if he didn't say that, then Obi-Wan would have not known that Anakin was using her as bait.
Yeah, I guess.
Which doesn't really matter, because the same outcome happens.
Yeah, so during this, though, we get the quick...
Anakin says, I can sense everything that's going on in that room.
Yeah. And, but I was going to say is that Jango Fett, he passes the worms off to... what's her name?
It's either Zeb.
I think it's Zeb.
Or Zen. I think it's Zeb.
I think so. He gives the worms to Zeb because the explosion didn't work. And this is where...
You have to be careful with these, Zeb. They're highly poisonous or some shit.
This has been beat to death, but it's just like Jango Fett hiring the bounty hunter.
No, Count Dooku hires Jango, and then Jango hires another bounty hunter to kill Padme.
And then she uses a robot that sends the slugs.
Then she sends a robot with slugs to kill her. Like, nobody is like...
Yeah. And then, so then while all that's going on, so the slugs, the robot comes to her window and shoots the slugs, and in the background you can hear Obi-Wan and Anakin's voices, and they're just arguing about politics. And Anakin's like, "No, what are your lectures? At least not about politics." Yeah. And it's like, the relationship is just so funny in this movie.
And then the slugs are about to kill Padme, and then the two Jedi...
I sense it too, and then they run in.
And Anakin does a sick-ass move, bro.
Precision.
Very precise. Yeah, he could have used like centimeters away from cutting up Padme.
R2 useless, doesn't sense.
Yeah, what the fuck? R2 didn't do shit. Then Obi-Wan does the most ballsy thing I've ever seen, which is he jumps out the window
and this is
grab onto the probe droid, not knowing where it's gonna go, or if it's gonna blow up.
Yeah, it could have a self-destruct.
Anakin says, "I'll be right back" to Padme, and then Keira Knightley comes in,
No, it's not Keira Knightley anymore. It's Rose
It's
Byrne.
Rose
Yeah,
Byrne.
it's another famous actress.
Which is, damn, I get them mixed up.
Yeah,
Rose Byrne comes in and is like, "Are you all right, my
yeah.
lady, or whatever?" And then it cuts to Obi-Wan flying through Coruscant on the. I mean, it's a cool chase.
No, so but just
And the score is like,
yeah, just to
pretty
rewind a
good.
little though.
Yeah, sorry, I'm getting ahead of
It's
myself.
just it's just the perfect like George Lucas not understanding how to do a character moment where the logical thing would be who would jump out of the window. It would be Anakin.
Yes,
Because to him,
because he's the more reckless one.
to him, the character moment though is, oh, let me show Anakin flying the speeder around because he's good at flying shit. That's just a thing he's good at. Like it would have been, way more sense because eventually Anakin does jump off the fucking ship. It's like he should have just done it in the first place. Because one, he wants.
It's just not an Obi-Wan thing to
Because also,
do.
who was the one that wanted to find out about the killer? It's just
him.
It's just it makes zero sense.
Exactly. So Obi-Wan was all about just being there for protection. Then he just on a whim
just fucking clears,
just dive bombs throughout the window.
Yeah,
and that was an Anakin thing to do.
And it's such a missed moment, I think, and it just.
But no, instead we get Obi-Wan doing it, and then we have a moment where Anakin's like trying to find the right speed.
Yeah. But like you said, though, I agree. I do think that the chase is cool, because eventually, she shoots down the droid that Obi-Wan's hanging on.
Because obviously it's going back to her.
Yeah, he falls. Anakin catches him. Very cool moment.
Cool shit.
Like you said, cool score. Then it leads to just a normal chase.
Obi-Wan says, like, what took you so long? It's like, Master, I had to find the right speed.
I like their dialogue in this.
That was good.
I like their dialogue. All
with an open cockpit and the right speed capabilities. Fitting for the character.
Then, he takes there's some bullshit that happens with the power couplings. Fucking corny-ass scene, but whatever.
Well, I told you to stay away from power couplings.
Yeah, because she shoots the thing and they get shocked. And
he could have just went over it.
Yeah, I don't know.
Whatever.
George has to have his goof in there.
Then there's like kind of a weird moment in the chase where Zeb goes through this tunnel and Anakin decides, I'm going to go around and cut her off.
Yeah, and it doesn't work out.
And then Obi-Wan absolutely shits on him for doing that.
Yeah.
He's like, she got away.
Completely the other way. Yeah. But and then Anakin just jumps out. And then Obi-Wan says, I hate it when he does. You just jumped out a fucking window, bro.
Bad example.
Like you just making Obi-Wan look like such an ass.
Such an idiot, dude.
Yeah, dude. So then he jumps off and he's literally just like floating forever.
And he lands on Zeb.
He times it perfectly. I mean, it's a Jedi thing, whatever.
Right. He lands on Zeb's speeder, and he's dicking around on the speeder for a minute. She like launches him forward, then back. Then he pulls out his saber and tries to fucking kill the bitch.
Finally,
robs his saber like an idiot, which is the first time in this movie.
Yeah, it's kind of a trope.
Then Obi-Wan catches that shit midair as it's flying. He catches it and puts it on the seat.
But what's crazy too is I thought that maybe they show, but I thought he was above. So did he
was. But they show Obi-Wan for like one shot where he's like he starts to go down to follow him.
Yeah.
Obi-Wan catches his lightsaber and puts it in there.
Yeah.
Whatever, fine. I think Anakin puts his hand in there, and then he gets a hold of her gun, and then he shoots like her control system, and then it crashes.
Yeah, and then it crashes. She goes into the bar.
Mm-hmm.
Him and Obi-Wan link up, and Anakin's eager to go in there. And Obi-Wan, he kind of has a wise thing to say, where like just. She's going in there to hide,
not to run.
Or she's going in there to hide, not to run. Yeah, and
smart, right?
Yeah, and just so just use the Force kind of thing, and then the lightsaber. This is your life.
This weapon is your life.
I don't know, whatever. I think this version of the Jedi, they believe that kind of thing because they're all dumb as fuck in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
I've always been of the thinking that like the Force is kind of their life. Line, not the weapon they use, but that's besides the point.
Which is why Yoda in the original trilogy didn't have a lightsaber.
Yeah,
but whatever.
So they go in, and then Obi-Wan tells them, "Go find her. I'm gonna get a drink." He wants to just.
Okay.
I get that they're trying to do like Obi-Wan is like he's cool or whatever, just like in A New Hope. He's at the fucking bar or whatever. But here's what's crazy to me. I'm not crazy, but it's like he literally said she's going in to hide. Why did she slowly approach Obi-Wan with a gun and is going to kill him if she's trying to hide it from him?
I think that was Obi-Wan's plan, was to have Anakin go off and look for her.
Yeah.
And he was just going to have a drink.
Yeah.
And she was going to catch him off guard, and then he would disarm her.
I think you can assume, too.
Did he cut her hand off?
I think so.
Or does he just get the gun? I don't remember.
I don't remember. I think he just like slashes her or some shit.
Because Obi-Wan's very known for dismembering people.
Yeah,
and
he probably cuts her hand off.
He probably did, and I hope he did.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little overkill doesn't hurt anybody.
And you can assume that he can sense kind of where she's at
Sure.
the whole time. So he's just, I feel like you're right. He's just at the bar.
Oh, we forgot. She's a changeling, by the way.
Yeah.
So she could change how
he's
she
a she, and I think she's a changeling.
And
yeah.
She changes her appearance.
But she never does. She just changes from lizard to human woman.
But she was human woman during the chase.
Yeah, and then she in the bar she's still a human woman. She doesn't. You don't actually see her change until
she dies.
Yeah, unless I'm pretty sure it's the same fucking person in the bar as it was.
Well, like it's weird because like when they're in the bar, and Zeb, the only shots you see of Zeb are like her legs.
Yeah.
Then her pulling out the gun. Then you get like a shot of her, like I think her upper head or just her eyes or something. You never fully see her face.
Yeah.
And you see Anakin's about to close in.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, she's right behind Obi-Wan, and he fucking, does his thing.
Want to buy some death sticks?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't want to sell me death sticks.
And this is just my own personal gripes with just these movies in general, too, is the bar, on the TVs. You have the droid football, the droid horse racing. It's like, George, like, I don't know what the fuck. It's just like, I don't know about you, but like,
when you're in a world that has pod racing that literally kills people, why do you have to have like robot football?
And it's also later when Obi-Wan goes into what's clearly a 1950s style diner, but it's just on Coruscant. It's just weird shit like that. I get that's just how he envisioned the world, and you can never cater to everyone's opinion.
I gotta pee.
Okay, yeah.
You can keep it rolling if you want and say some shit on your own, or we can cut it up. It's up to you.
Yeah, well, I'll probably just cut it because I got to pee too. Quick break.
Pee break.
Yeah, but like I was saying, it's never gonna meet our expectations all the time. But it's just such a weird tonal decision to include these obvious links to like regular life, as we know it.
Because in the originals and stuff, like you never see
shit like that. Yeah. And I get too that these movies do have a different kind of tone.
Sure.
It's a little more for children. I put that in quotations, but very strange. So he cuts off her hand, dismantles her, whatever. They drag her outside. She turns. Oh no, she doesn't turn the lizard yet. Yeah. So they're asking her, "Tell us now." That's kind of Anakin's little edgy side coming out, because they want the information of who hired her, and then the dart goes into her neck.
Yeah.
And they don't know who it was. They don't know.
You see a shot of a guy who looks like Boba Fett.
Yeah, they don't know that.
Right.
Yeah, and he flies off, and they take the dart, and then
talks like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then what's the scene after that?
So the chase basically led to nothing other than them getting that dart.
Yeah, and so then this is kind of, we'll get more into it actually. So continue, yeah.
So yeah, then it cuts to Mace and Yoda, and Obi-Wan sends like a transmission to them about what happened.
No, that's like way later, isn't it?
I thought he just does a quick little.
Oh, maybe.
Or they go to them and just talk in person.
Yeah, they go. The thing you're thinking of is way later.
Okay.
Yeah, so they go. You're right. They go to the council.
Because they're already on Coruscant.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they just go there in person and they tell them basically everything that just happened.
And basically, the council decides that they want Obi-Wan to uncover this mystery.
To investigate this.
And then they want
bounty hunter
Anakin to take Padme back to Naboo and be her bodyguard.
This is Anakin's first mission.
And also, once again, we just have like kind of a stupid decision. You have Obi-Wan who knows he's smitten by Padme. And then even just besides that, you have these two young, hot 20-somethings going to this, like, basically vacation planet. I mean, it's just Naboo waterfalls and gondolas.
Like anywhere I would want to go with a significant other,
and it's like, yeah, you two go, do your thing, report back when you... Like, it's just so, like... they don't give a fuck. And, like, once again, they don't... It's consistent throughout the whole movie that they don't give a fuck. They make the dumbest decisions.
Who's they?
The Jedi Council. Yeah. The Jedi in general. And I think, like we were talking...
They're very cocky. They're very arrogant. They think they know everything. I mean, they're kind of incompetent, though.
And that's the thing. and it's almost like, and this is the theme throughout the movie in general, is it's very much you're seeing what George wants you to see. You're seeing how these things play out, where the Jedi are kind of making these stupid decisions. They're they're sending them on their missions or whatever. Obi-Wan eventually uncovers his plot. Anakin's story doesn't matter really, but it's very much where, as the audience, as the viewer, you are kind of coming up with these things. It's not very, and like we talked about this in the Phantom Menace. It's not like I need my hand held through it, but it's all of this is just our inferences about the movie. You know what I mean? And sure, like that's what's being shown, but it's not. Nothing is ever like this is a twist or this is something that like
It's very cut and dry.
oh yeah, the Jedi are stupid. Like, you know what I mean? It's very much, here's what it is. Here's the movie. You watch it. You come up with what you fucking think this
Which
is about.
normally I'm all for.
Yeah, but I think it's just done
because the original trilogy, I think the reason they're so good is because it leaves a lot up to the imagination.
Sure,
but it does it in a good way.
But
these movies.
But the thing is, with the original trilogy, is that you have the rebels who are the good guys, and once again, I'm not saying things need to be this black and white, but you have the rebels who are the good guys, and you have the Empire who are the bad guys, and there's the dynamics between them, and you see like
you have your main characters,
and
the clear villains,
and also you don't have all of no one. I mean, sometimes the Empire could be incompetent, sure, but like not everybody in the movie is incompetent to where it's like you just bad decision after bad decision.
Prime example, Darth Vader.
Mm-hmm.
He's very rarely shown as being incompetent.
Sure.
He sets up a whole trap for Luke, and I mean, it works.
Yeah.
I mean, Vader wins basically at the end. The only thing he doesn't get is Luke himself.
Yeah.
But he basically did what he was trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, you could say that in the beginning of Empire, he almost catches Han and everybody on Hoth, but he didn't.
Mm-hmm.
That needed to happen to set up the whole movie.
Sure, yeah.
But yeah, and these movies, man, the prequels, I mean, almost every character, including the good characters, are just not smart. They make stupid decisions.
Yeah, and like I said, I get that's what you were trying to go for, but
you can't relate to any of them.
But the thing is that it should have been told more in a way of like a tragedy then. Like a Game of Thrones, like we talked about this before. Think about season 1, Ned Stark, where he thinks he's doing the right thing all along. He thinks things like he's okay, I'm gonna call out the hypocrisy that's going on. I'm gonna call out what the Queen is doing. And
he gets killed for it.
And that's the consequence of him trying to do that. And in this, it's just bad decision. All these bad things are going on. Where is the person?
But then bail out.
Yeah, but where is that character or characters that are like the counterforce to that? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Padme should be that person. She's the senator who is all about peace and things, and we see that.
She's obviously supposed to be the Leia type character,
and we see in the Clone Wars she's very diplomatic and she's trying to solve these problems that feel unsolvable. In this movie and in every movie, and not every, but in Revenge of the Sith, she's just completely taken out of the plot.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
So that's my rant, kind of about just even the first 30 minutes of this movie.
I think what we're gonna end up ultimately concluding about this prequel trilogy, dude, is that Star Wars is at its best when it's simple.
Yeah.
I mean, you can have movies like I don't know, Tarantino, let's just say, right?
Yeah.
He loves complex stuff. There really are no good guys in his movies. Everyone kind of is like in the gray. Mm-hmm. Movies like that are great. But Star Wars, to me, has always worked best when it's just simplified.
Yeah, I think
these movies are trying to be a lot more complicated than they need to be.
What's funny, I mean, and I'm not trying to out you,
yeah.
but you haven't seen Andor.
No,
you've not seen Andor, and to me, Andor it does what these movies are trying to do. It does the politics thing and the like. There's good and there's bad, but there's levels of good and bad, and it tells the story in a way where there's the people who are incompetent, but then they have a character arc where you see where they're going. There's the people who are only in it for themselves, but then there's a character arc. And that's a show, I understand, but this is 3 movies.
Yeah.
And we get...
What's Anakin's arc in this movie?
He wants Padme in the beginning.
And he gets her.
Yeah, yeah.
But he doesn't learn anything.
Yeah, I mean... It's just ridiculous.
All right.
So let's keep going.
Let's get back on track here. I think that was an important rant, though.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, so the council gives Anakin and Obi-Wan their respective missions.
Yep.
And this is something I wanted to bring up. Ever since I saw this movie, and the many times I have seen it, I always thought this to myself: why didn't the council send Anakin with Obi-Wan to uncover the mystery of the dart and just give another random Jedi the responsibility of protecting Padme?
I think that
because Obi-Wan expressed his concern to the council about letting Anakin do this.
Yeah.
And they just were like, nah, fuck you, we're the council, this is what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Okay. I guess Obi-Wan doesn't really have a say in that.
Yeah.
But that just shows that the council are dumb.
Yeah.
This could have been a really good learning moment for Anakin to go with Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
Now, granted, he might have gotten captured with Obi-Wan on Geonosis later on, but knowing Anakin, that could have been a cool character moment where Obi-Wan gets captured and he's alone and he has to get him out. You know what I mean?
Here's how I feel if we're going to get into kind of what we would have liked to see kind of thing.
Yeah.
I'm fine even with them splitting up.
Sure.
But here's what I would have thought is, and we'll get to this when we keep talking about the movie, is that Anakin and Padme's story is not involved with the main plot at all. It's just like Phantom Menace, where they go to Tatooine, and that has nothing to do with the main plot, except now it's not like they're discovering this kid. No, they're just having dates. That's what this is.
The whole point of that subplot is to expand their romance.
And that's the thing is that there's no problem with that, but
it's not believable.
Well, what I was going to say is just tie it into the plot. Imagine instead of they go off to her home planet, they stay on Coruscant.
Yeah, why did they go to Naboo?
I guess just to get it
safer.
Yeah, and so, but what if they stayed on Coruscant because she has to make this vote? It's super important.
Wasn't that the important thing that they had to be there?
Yeah. And
in the beginning,
and so Anakin, your job is to protect her
while she's here.
Yeah. So then you could have
and that way the council could keep an eye on him too.
Yeah. And so then what you have now is Obi-Wan's going to investigate this dart, and then you could have had people still trying to kill Padme. They're still trying.
Anakin's dealing with that,
and they're dealing with it, and then they're uncovering part of the plot too, and that's how you tie plot lines together.
But no, instead they sent him to Naboo.
And then while they're going through these things, you make the relationship normal and it's that's how you normally do romance.
Like Han and Leia.
You bring the two main characters along for the journey.
That's what happens with Han and Leia.
Yeah,
they get strung
off into their own.
They get strung in a plot.
Yes,
and on this adventure together, and they're forced to work together, and then they fall
find
in love.
out that they're meant for each other.
No, but instead they go to Naboo.
Yeah,
and they have these awkward conversations between the two of them, dude.
Oh man,
and we'll get into that, but no, I mean, look. That's what it's what could have been, but it didn't, right?
Yeah.
So we're just I don't know. There's a lot of things.
I think if you look at a movie like The Two Towers, for instance, where
that's a great trilogy.
Yes,
we're gonna watch those.
A very good trilogy. But Two Towers, you have your main characters split up, but
they each have something to do.
Fucking Gimli, Legolas, Aragorn, they fight a whole war.
Yeah, dude. Yeah,
they might not be on the main plot
but
it's in service of that,
yes.
And so they're given something to do. And in this movie, they have nothing to do until the last 40 minutes,
bro. And then, okay,
yeah, let's keep going. We're getting crazy. But...
Oh Jesus Christ! Okay. Yeah. So Obi-Wan goes. He starts doing his thing to figure out where this dart came from.
He meets up with Dex, his old.
No, first he goes to the archives.
No, he meets with Dex first.
You're right. Never mind.
Yeah, he goes
to the diner.
His old cook.
Not explain how they know each other.
His cook buddy that also just happened to be friends with the Jedi back in the day.
Sure.
Whatever.
50s style diner.
50s style. He has alien with a mustache. Love it.
Love it.
Pulls up his fucking pants.
Obi-Wan. Yeah. Hello, Dex.
Yeah, and he just knows where this dart's from.
You want a cup of Java juice? Thank you, yes. Or whatever the fuck he says. He sits down with Dex, who we don't know who it is, but yeah, it's fine.
He used to be some kind of miner, he said, on the Outer Rim, so he knows about Camino.
He recognizes the dart because of the marking.
The cloners. Yeah.
One of them cloners.
Yeah. He recognizes it,
and then they both start like talking shit about droids.
Yeah, racist towards droids.
Like,
I don't
okay,
know.
I guess that's why droids don't think. Otherwise, none of us would be here.
Yeah, and then
Um,
but Dex gives him kind of the general location where it is, so he can look it up in
it's
his
on the Outer
archive.
Rim. It's not in the Republic.
Yeah, so he looks it up on the archives. It's not there.
He goes to that
Old
old
librarian,
librarian Jedi, and she's again arrogant
arrogant as fuck.
because the Jedi have to know everything.
There's nobody to like in this movie.
She says, dude, if it's not in the archives, it doesn't exist. So you're telling me that if it's not in your Jedi archives, it just doesn't exist?
Yeah, and
Get
then
the fuck
so then
out of
Obi-Wan
here.
goes to get a second opinion.
Obi-Wan, actually, the smart thing that Obi-Wan does is not believe her.
Yeah, goes to get a second opinion from Yoda, and then Yoda just asks the younglings.
Because Yoda's in the middle of a lesson.
Yeah, and he's like, and then one of them speaks up. It's probably deleted from the archive. Like some.
Oh, no shit.
It's just like, well, you're gonna have this kid, whatever.
It's
like,
really wonderful the mind of a child is.
yes,
The Padawan is right.
and I guess you could say that just shows how clouded they fucking are.
But Obi-Wan pulls up like the hologram of the space, and he points to where the planet's supposed to be. And he says the gravity is pulling all the stars in this direction.
Yeah.
So what does that tell you, Obi-Wan? Like, did you have to go?
Maybe just go investigate.
Go look, man.
Yeah.
But no, the movie wastes more of your time doing that stupid shit. I even wrote that down, that Obi-Wan wastes time.
Yeah.
Investigating.
Yeah,
while Obi-Wan's doing that, they're setting up Anakin and Padme leaving, and what you have with that is Padme makes Jar Jar. Padme makes Jar Jar her representative while she's gone.
Which Bail Organa is right fucking there. Like, I don't get this. Like, why doesn't he like? I get he's not from Naboo, maybe, but he's obviously one of your fucking homies who's in the Senate. Just like make him your fucking representative. I don't understand. And we'll get more about Bale later and how he's fucking useless in this movie.
He's useless in Revenge of the Sith too.
Yeah, dude like doesn't do shit when he has the ability to. But
he's just there because he's supposed to be.
Yeah. So then Obi-Wan sees Anakin and Padme off.
No, wait, hold on.
Okay,
There's one thing I wanted to cover really quick.
Yeah, sure.
So Padme makes Jar Jar her representative. Okay?
Yeah.
Which, whatever. Her, Padme and Anakin have a little conversation about, like, honestly, I really don't remember. It's like semantics. About.
Oh yeah, where she's packing and he's like, Obi-Wan doesn't trust me.
He's groveling.
I could be the most powerful Jedi ever. And
yeah.
And it's just more just like
making Anakin more unlikable.
Trauma dumping on Padme.
And Padme, like, keep in mind, like, they just met. Like,
yeah, it's been 10 years.
Like, I don't give a fuck what anyone says. Meeting a 10-year-old and then meeting a 20-year-old, even if they're the same person,
very different.
Different people.
Yeah.
So really, it's like they're just meeting for the first. I know it's not, but it's kind of like they're meeting for the first time because Anakin's an adult now.
Yeah.
And so it's this girl he's thought about every day,
mm-hmm.
dreams about her. And what is one of the first things he does? He grovels to her about. He whines and complains to her about his master.
And she just says like, our mentors are hard on us,
bro. Anakin has no game. Like
no riz.
Like
no riz.
That's not how you get a chick, bro. You don't start bitching.
Yeah. Anakin does not have the sauce.
And Padme says a line that actually makes sense. It's like, oh, well, you know, there's reasons for everything.
Yeah, and she says our mentors are hard on us.
For a reason, and he just completely ignores that.
You know what we also forgot about, too? Is Anakin goes to Palpatine to talk to him about his first assignment.
Yeah.
And this is so weird to me. I don't understand, like, I guess what they're trying to imply is that
they have a relationship.
Yeah, but, like, Obi-Wan has always been hard on him, and you know, Palpatine just sucks him off, so like he likes Palpatine because that's what he basically is like. You can rival Master Yoda. Like
he says he's gonna be more powerful than him,
and like Anakin likes it. So I get their relationship, but it's just
your patience has paid off.
We'll get to this later, but it's just like the smart thing to do was to be when they. I'll get to this later, but okay. I have a lot to say about their relationship and how it plays into the end of this movie and also Revenge of the Sith. But,
before Obi-Wan leaves, he sees Anakin and Padme off.
Yes, and this is kind of also where it just would have been nice for like Obi-Wan to say like, "Hey, I'm proud of you, man. Like you got your first mission. Doesn't say anything like that. Just may the force be with you. I guess that's like their version of it, but they say that shit all the time. And
Yeah.
Obi-Wan just doesn't say anything to him.
That would have been a good moment.
It would have been a nice moment to like, okay, like, and that's the thing with this movie.
He could have said anything like,
This-
Anakin, I'm very proud of you. Just remember your teachings and you'll be fine.
This movie sets up in the beginning when they're in the elevator. They talk about how good buddies they are and all the adventures they go on, and then you just like get none of that in this
Yeah.
fucking movie, and it's just like Obi-Wan doesn't care, and then they leave, and the last little line with the eye patch dude and Obi-Wan, Obi-Wan says that I don't trust him. Talk about Anakin, and then the eye patch dude is, I'd be more worried about her than him. And it's like everyone knows they shouldn't be doing this, and they're like going along with it.
Yeah.
It's so fucking crazy. Yeah. So then they're flying to fucking Naboo, disguised as peasants or whatever the fuck.
He just throws a poncho on.
Throws a classic Jedi poncho.
Qui-Gon did the same thing on Tatooine.
Yeah, I mean, and then you got Fallen Order poncho, fucking
Yeah, right.
Just classic.
It's the Jedi disguise.
Yeah, poncho.
Poncho.
Yeah. So then we get to Obi-Wan flying a fucking
Well, I think we don't
Camino.
we get Anakin and Padme first before we see Obi-Wan?
Probably. I mean, I'm not going in exact order, but yeah. So they go to Naboo. They talk to the Senate and the Queen. That super important vote. Forget about it. Jar Jar's got it.
Yeah, Jar Jar's got it.
Got it on lock. Yeah, and then like we were talking about fucking the guy asks Anakin for his opinion about security.
Oh, he says. I think the guy says like, "Oh, what's your opinion on the matter, Master Jedi?"
And then Padme
Immediately is like, "Oh, he's not a Jedi. Actually, he's a learner."
Once again, we just have this awkward conversation for everybody.
Like, why did she need to like call him out like that?
I think
she should have let him just like go along with it. Like,
and this is the thing is like why?
Like, even though he's a Padawan, he's still a fucking Jedi.
And it's just like everyone just needs to take the opportunity to shit on him.
Yeah,
it's kind of weird. I don't get it
either.
Yeah,
but...
I get he's annoying as fuck, but
can you blame him sometimes? Because everyone is constantly shitting on him.
Yeah,
his own master shits
yeah,
on him in front of other people.
And he just winds up agreeing with her, like, "Oh yeah, we'll go to the countryside on one of the lake houses." So Obi-Wan and Camino.
Yeah, here we go.
He gets to Camino.
This is such a huge plot point,
and it's just
that just gets kind of brushed over.
So let's just establish we have the dart, which is, I guess you can call it the MacGuffin, the fucking rosebud, the inciting thing. That's okay. This is what's starting the journey. We get to Camino, and then we learn about he meets the cloners, the fucking whatever.
Yeah, and
they tell him, tell your master Sifo Dyas that his army's ready. Sifo Dyas is yet another now new MacGuffin. Who the fuck is Sifo Dyas? One
Jedi Master Sifo Dyas, and
apparently he was killed 10 years ago, right around when he fucking. What happened 10 years ago? Can you recall? Wasn't there a fucking Sith Lord that they discovered, and they killed maybe the Master, the Apprentice? Yeah, and it's just like. No one piece of shit anything together.
Nobody picks up on that,
and it's just, and not even that is that this is some huge plot point about Sifo Dyas.
I just love the fact that Obi-Wan is there for a totally different reason.
Yeah, it's
and the fucking cloners basically exposition dump him.
Yeah, he ordered this army,
and Obi-Wan just plays along.
That's why I'm here.
Yeah, he has no idea what they're talking about, but he's playing along, I guess, to try to like. Goad information out of them.
Sure. It makes sense, but just my problem with the whole thing is...
But, okay, so he's playing along, but is he just not realizing what the fuck they're saying?
I really think he does, and it's just that, it's not important right now, we gotta keep moving, it's just, you know what I mean?
I don't know, this seems more important than the goddamn fucking...
Yeah, and
bounty hunter shit.
And so once again, like I was saying though, is that we're introduced to this character that issued the clone army. Are we ever going to find out what happened to this guy? No. Doesn't fucking matter. Doesn't matter why. Your mic still green?
Yeah.
Yeah. It doesn't matter why he issued it. Eventually, like the scene you were talking about, he messages Yoda and Mace and tells them about this whole army. Sifo Dyas, do you guys know anything about that? Mace Council didn't order any such thing. No one gives a fuck. And then they just, yep, this is our army now. Like, no one cares. And it's fucking infuriating. Like, and people make the argument that's what this is supposed to be. It's supposed to Luke Skywalker in The Last Jedi talks about how incompetent the fucking Jedi were back then. But you can't
This
have
is why.
everybody be incompetent in the movie because then I don't fucking care because everyone's stupid, and it infuriates me. It really like just how.
But I guess, dude, you need the Jedi to be this stupid for Palpatine to eventually take over everything.
Yeah, I agree, but it's just when there's.
But they're a little too dumb.
But that I would be fine if the council was fucking stupid, and maybe even Obi-Wan kind of bought into some of the council stuff. Even when he becomes the master, he starts buying into it. But you need Anakin to be the one who disagrees with all this shit.
But dude, you would think that Qui-Gon being Obi-Wan's master,
just forget about it.
Like all the shit that Qui-Gon supposedly taught him, and how Qui-Gon never really agreed with the council.
I honestly agree with Count Dooku later on in this movie that don't be so sure that he wouldn't have joined me.
Yeah,
like, I'm not saying Qui-Gon was evil, but like I think he would have been pissed off with the state of the Jedi at this point.
Yes.
And it's just like you just forget about Qui-Gon.
Imagine if Qui-Gon was still alive 10 years later.
Yeah.
And all this shit was going on, he wouldn't have it, bro.
Yeah, and it's just...
He would be like, wait a minute, what? Who the fuck is Sifo Dyas? Why did he order this clone army? Why did they just assume that we signed off on it?
And I get... So that's exactly... It's so funny you say that, because that's what this is missing, is the voice of reason.
There is no voice of reason.
And this is what I keep going back to, is that there's no voice of reason, so there's just nobody that I can like connect with in these movies. But... So I got a little head. The fucking
the cloners, the Prime Minister of Kamino, shows Obi-Wan the clones they made, this army.
Are you happy with them? Yeah,
good shit.
Yeah, what the fuck's going on? I don't know. And then they tell him that Jango Fett was the one. He
asks,
And so, can I meet him? They set up the meeting, and just the way this whole meeting is shot, framed. The acting right away, as soon as they walk in, Boba Fett just looks pissed that Obi-Wan's even here.
Yeah,
like what the fuck is this guy doing here?
Yeah,
and right away you could feel someone's off, and then it's like Jango, Obi-Wan, Jango's armor like right behind him, and Obi-Wan literally like Jango like they're talking about it like, oh, you ever venture as far in as Coruscant? And Jango Fett says no, because they're talking about his whereabouts basically. And then he like kind of, I'm just a simple man trying to make my way through the universe, and he walks away, and then you just have Obi-Wan staring at his armor.
Like, bro, that's the armor I saw in Coruscant.
And like I know that he pieces it together, but it's just like he's just playing it way too cool at this point. I don't know.
I just don't like the juxtaposition between like they're having this kind of friendly conversation. It's pretty innocent.
Yeah.
Obi-Wan is questioning him, but it's very innocent. And then it goes to when he sends the message to the council, he's like, I have a feeling this is the bounty hunter I'm looking for. And then as soon as he sees him again, it's like on sight.
Yeah.
It's like a fight, dude.
Well, and the thing
I mean, I know it's because they tell Obi-Wan to bring him in.
I'm like 100. I'm like 90% sure he sees the armor, right?
Yeah.
Why do they still have the shot of Boba Fett Boba Fett, his son, closing the door? It's like he already saw it. Yeah, what are you hiding?
Also, side note, it's very weird that Jango wanted to raise himself.
Yeah.
Because if you think about it, it's a clone of him that he asked them to age normally.
Yeah. So then,
when he's an adult, it's gonna look just like him.
Yeah.
It's just weird, bro.
Yeah.
Weird shit.
No offense to that kid actor either.
No.
Plays Boba.
I'm just saying it was a weird choice.
No, I'm saying though, I think he's bad.
No, he's bad.
He's
bad. Yeah, he is bad. Get him, Dad. Get him. Fire.
Yeah. What was the line when there was a line that he says that's just fucking insane.
Which part?
I can't even remember. I think I texted you about it when I was watching it. It was like he's like, "Yep."
Oh, the Prime Minister asks Boba, "Is your father around?"
Yep.
Yeah.
And then he's like, "Yep," and then it just cuts.
And then here comes Jango.
Yeah. It's so funny. Yeah. So then it cuts to Obi-Wan, like we were talking about before, telling them about the clone army.
But you can't forget like the shot, right? Like he's in the rain.
Yeah,
he's like yelling.
And it's crazy how like shitty the Camino looks at first when they're CGI. Inside, because it's so brightly lit.
It's like a video game.
At this point, like George Lucas didn't really care about like lighting or anything like that. He just wanted to show off the CG. But it's just like Obi-Wan walking through this virtual fucking world, and then cut to like outside when you have the night and the rain and the CGI actually looks decent.
Yeah. Because the lighting makes sense.
Yeah, and that always just makes CGI look better. Like Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, the opening shot is them in the fucking rain. But yeah, so then right away he sees Jango Fett, and like you said, it's
because the council tells him to bring him in for questioning.
And Yoda and Mace, they have their talk just about like, yeah, we didn't. Oh, this is when. Is this when he says our ability to use the Force?
Yeah,
has been diminished.
Mace Windu suggests that they should tell the Senate that.
Or no, that's later.
It's later
when he transmits about their
no, right now it's just
yeah.
They just tell him what to do.
Yeah, so they tell him to go follow him. So then him and Jango have their fight. I want to ask you.
I think this is the part where Palpatine, Mace and Yoda and Jar Jar are all discussing the vote.
Yeah, so they talk about this vote. No, that's still later.
Is that later?
Because they bring up, that's when Obi-Wan brings up the droid army.
You're right.
Yeah, so we're getting ahead of ourselves. But no,
I'm sorry. There's a lot of scenes that are very similar that happen.
Like, well, when every dialogue scene is filmed the same, where it's just a shot of everybody, like, and it's just like.
But dude, there's so many scenes where it's like Anakin and Obi-Wan are doing something, cut to the council talking about it, or Obi-Wan sends them a message, cut to the council and Palpatine talking about it.
Yeah,
it's like I get them mixed up.
So, but I wanted to ask you here. Once again, we get the Jango Obi-Wan fight. Obi-Wan comes out with his kicks. He kicks him
he kicks the fuck out of him,
like
man.
6 times.
I love it.
I want to ask you though, like at this point in the movie, has anyone used the Force for anything besides grabbing something or opening something?
No.
And you do have the mind trick. But like that's something that I think.
I guess you could say, Anakin used the Force to find Obi-Wan in the beginning chase, because how did he know where he was?
Yeah,
and then also Anakin uses the Force to land perfectly on.
That's implied. I'm just talking about obvious uses of the Force when this is supposed to be the Jedi at their prime.
Yeah, no, they're really
like you see Jango Fett, I would have immediately like Force pushed him or something. Like it's just like, and I get like, okay, yeah, it doesn't make it as interesting of a fight, but there's just so many instances where I'm like, I would just use the Force, like it's just because at the end you have Jango or Dooku and Yoda flexing their Force abilities, and that's the only time.
Maybe they saved it for those characters to show how powerful they are.
I guess.
And like Obi-Wan and Anakin can only use like sea-level Force abilities.
Yeah, I mean, unless you're doing the speed run, Obi-Wan does that perfectly in the first movie. So then
you like, dude, this movie has a lot of like opening doors with the Force.
Yeah, it's just and I don't know. I would have liked to see more Force stuff, but the fight's pretty cool.
Yeah,
Jango gets away basically, but Obi-Wan throws the tracker on it. Yeah, dude, some of the shit that they do in this movie though, like the defining, and I get it's a fantasy fucking sci-fi movie, but like Obi-Wan is falling and he whips up his fucking thing and he and I get he's a Jedi and like once again like you were talking about, it's kind of implied he's using the Force, but like some of this shit is hilarious.
But here's the what I thought immediately after watching him catch himself on the rope.
Yeah,
that line is like razor thin, dude.
Yeah,
you're not grabbing that, and if you do, it's gonna cut the fuck out of your hands.
Yeah, dude.
But he grabs it no problem.
Yeah, and that's the thing. There's so much like defining physics in this movie.
I'm being nitpicky.
Yeah,
but
let's cut back to Anakin and Padme.
Oh no, I gotta say this really quick.
Sure.
Jango Fett knocks it, like he knocks Obi-Wan off. He falls.
Yeah.
Jango Fett looks down, doesn't see him. He thinks he falls. Okay, cool. Jango Fett has like 15 feet he has to climb before he's back up to the platform to get to his ship. Obi-Wan has to go up what seems like flights of stairs to get back up to the...
Maybe an elevator? I mean...
Okay, maybe, but dude, like it just... I don't know. It like in my brain, the logic would be Jango Fett's getting to his ship way before Obi-Wan gets up there. But no, Obi-Wan gets back up there just as Jango's taking off.
Just so he could throw his thing. I get it.
Fine. Yeah. But it was just another little thing that I, nitpicky.
Yeah. So getting back to Padme and
yeah, then you have fucking Anakin and Padme just,
And then so this is the first scene where like and this is like the tone. The rest of their scenes together is I'm gonna wear something slutty.
Dude, she looks.
And I'm not even saying that this is like Padme's intention. This is just George Lucas, like, give her just the sluttiest outfits
And
possible.
George Lucas wanted that because I don't give a fuck what anyone says. When you see Padme like go to like the Senate or like go to like important meetings, she's dressed very formally.
Yeah, exactly.
But when she's with Anakin, dude, she's hamming it up.
Yeah, and it's like he's like touching her.
She's showing midriff, like big time
back, boobs,
everything.
Yeah,
everything.
And so in this one, he's touching her back. They're talking about the sand. They have their kiss, and she pulls away. I do like how
she's trying to not.
I do like how they kind of they subvert
but I guess,
expectations.
You know what you could say? Because you later find out that Padme had feelings for him the whole time. Maybe her wearing the slutty outfits was her way.
So she's just like cock teasing him
a little bit.
The whole movie.
She's honeypotting.
Yeah. Like just obvious. Like it's just ridiculous.
She's throwing a line out and then reeling it back.
Yeah, she just wants to like tease him the whole movie, I guess. But no. So I do like how they kind of because their theme is across the stars, right? It was that Leia and Hans across the their romantic theme.
Their love theme is similar.
Yeah, but I love that theme.
I do too.
I like too when they start building it up. We're good. They start building it up, and they kiss, and then the music cuts, and then she pulls. I like that. It would have been better, I think, like I said before, if like it was more in favor of more moving the story along instead of just them doing their own bullshit.
Yeah.
So yeah, you have a lot of this shit of them like fucking will they, won't they? They go on their fucking date in the meadow picnic, and
it's like a different movie I'm watching, dude. Seriously.
And then Anakin starts making like fascist jokes about how like well, yeah, because they're talking about the Senate.
By the way, this is where I stopped taking notes because
really?
I was just like
you were just so like dumbfounded.
Oh wait a minute,
what?
No, I still have notes.
Okay,
I'll let you know where.
Sure. So yeah, so then they start talking about like how the Senate works and how everyone needs, and Anakin's like everyone needs to sit down, do what's in the best interest of the people, and Padme says that's how it is, and she's like, well, the problem is not everyone agrees, and Anakin's like, well, someone should make them agree, and she said that sounds an awful lot like a dictatorship to me, and he's like, yeah, well, maybe, and then she's like, you're teasing me, and you can't really tell, and then he laughs, but it's either way, it's still like it's like you're on a date and someone makes like a little like Nazi kind of joke.
No, it kind of shows like Anakin's views on
and she thinks it's like cute, and I'm like, what the fuck,
like,
dude?
I think she thinks that he's joking, but he's not.
But my point is that either way, joke
he
or
laughs
not,
it off.
It's like still like what, and then he rides one of the fucking CGI turds,
falls off, pretends to be like knocked out,
and she comes over, and then they just are rolling around in the meadow. And I'm just moving through all their little date sequences
because they're all very similar. Yeah, it's all awkward.
Then you have the dinner where she's in the fucking titty outfit. And he's fucking master.
Hey, you get some force powers.
Here, have a pair. Obi-Wan would be pissed if he saw me. And then this is like the first scene I feel like that's like shot in an interesting way in this movie with the fire.
Yeah.
And they're like kind of in the lights kind of reflecting.
Where she's looking like a straight whore.
Yeah. And then I'm haunted by the kiss I should have never given you.
Oh
my God. And it's just like this is the writing we got for these scenes. Like and it would have
but that basically the whole point of that scene was they both are kind of admitting things about their feelings for each other, but then they both agree that we shouldn't do it. That was the whole point.
Yeah, and I guess it kind of like puts that on hold for a little while.
Let's pause on that.
Awesome.
Put a pin in that.
Yeah, and then we get Anakin starts having dreams about his mother.
Yeah.
So then basically he tells Padme.
Wait. He has the nightmare.
Yeah.
Then the next scene
is him posted up outside.
He's posted up, dude, like Willem Dafoe style.
Yeah.
And he's like looking out on the out to the sea, meditating. Padme walks out and is like, "Oh shit, my bad.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, I don't mean to disturb you." And he's like, "No, your presence is soothing." Okay, a little game.
Yeah.
First good little line he says. Then Padme's like, "Oh, you had another nightmare last night." And he says, Jedi don't have nightmares.
Yeah.
And she's like, well, I heard you. And he's like,
I heard you crying.
yeah, I heard you like, you sound like kind of like a bitch, Anakin.
Yeah.
Little Annie.
Yeah.
Then he basically admits, like, yeah, I was having a nightmare about my mom. She's in pain. I have to go to her. I'm sorry.
Like, I'm sorry. And basically, like, come with me is what he says. And
throws the whole mission out the window.
And doesn't tell the council, doesn't tell Obi-Wan like he said he would. Which, I mean, whatever. Like, I think it's a good... shows how sporadic he can be.
Well, at this point, like, he's too focused on getting to his mom. He doesn't give a shit about the mission.
He's blinded by his emotions. It's fine, whatever.
I mean, but dude, if you think about it, Tatooine is like a dangerous place to bring her.
Yeah, it is. I mean, so then they go to Tatooine.
And we get my favorite character.
Watto.
Fucking Watto,
back.
Dude. I actually kind of liked him.
He's just... it's so dirty, though. Like, they, like, put the CG flies and, like he obviously smells like shit. And, like, it's just like Anakin's talking to him normally because there's no one actually there that he's talking to, but it's just hilarious.
Little Annie?
It is you. Nah. Like, it's just so stupid. But
where's my mother, Watto?
Yeah. So
yeah, I sold it to some moisture farmers that just passed a
business is business, and he married her, is what he tells her.
Yeah.
And then, like, he's like, where are they? And he said, kind of far. He's like, I would like to see the records. I like him kind of being direct, like, stop fucking around.
Yeah, well, Watto says, like, oh, I think they're past Mos Eisley.
Yeah,
and he's like, remember. He's like, I would like to know.
Yeah.
And he's like, okay, sure, no problem.
Yeah.
And he takes him back.
I see, like, I like when Hayden and Anakin, it's just more like him being direct, and, like, that's how he should be, and not so grovelly and
honestly, like, I think this whole Tatooine side mission is really what seals the deal for Padme.
Yeah. Oh, he wants to...
because he's taking charge. He's trying to save his mom.
Yeah.
Like, what else can you look for in a guy, right?
Well, yeah, then...
like, his Padme's just following on him, and he's, like, taking over this. Like,
yeah.
He's just doing
he's
his
in
own...
charge now.
Yeah. It's just like, oh, my.
Yeah, and then while all this is going on, just to kind of give you the information, Obi-Wan, he has his chase with fucking Jango Fett.
Yeah.
You do get the cool... what are they? The sound bombs. If they have
seismic charges.
Yeah, seismic charges. Those are cool. Another cool little chase scene.
Yeah, I like the asteroid field.
I love Jango Fett's gun.
That sound. It sounds awesome.
Yeah, dude. Hold on. Fucking keep talking. I gotta pull this up.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, Obi-Wan's chasing Jango Fett and his cloned son to Geonosis.
Yeah.
And if you look, Geonosis has a ring around it, which is asteroids.
Yeah.
And I think Boba says a line, or Jango Fett says something like, "Oh, I think he's following us. He has to put a homing device on our hull."
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh, let's give him a little surprise."
Yeah.
So that's when they start releasing the seismic charges, and then you get a cut. I don't know what it is, but, like, I love the shots of Obi-Wan when he's flying. It's like, it's a struggle for him.
He says, I hate flying.
And he's making the faces, like, pretty good acting from Ewan. Like, he's having a hard time.
And this is what is nice about this movie compared to the last one, where you kind of at least you get these little breaks in between the fucking nonsense.
The slog fest of
you get an action scene, which it was an interesting one too.
I liked it.
Yeah, dude. I've been listening to this nonstop from the Phantom Menace. Just had to play the sound real quick for everybody of the fucking. This is a account on TikTok. They just post Star Wars sounds every day.
Did you see the one where it's the speeder bike from Return of the Jedi?
Yeah. I think they even have the seismic charge as one of the sounds.
Really cool.
Stupid
sound.
Little. I listen to that every day though because I just love the way it sounds.
It's supposed to be like a big V8.
Yeah, you can tell like. Yeah. So then Jango thinks he loses him, but they do the classic hanging on to something. Obi-Wan to avoid it.
Yeah. Obi-Wan does a smart thing, which is he waits for Jango to actually land on Geonosis. And he says a line to R4, like, I think we've waited long enough. Then he goes to land on the planet where Jango Fett landed, and he sees a lot of Federation ships.
Mm-hmm. And then this is where he sees the meeting.
He's like 2 feet away from them. Like, I don't know if you realize that.
And they're basically talking about, like, their whole evil scheme.
Yeah.
About how this is kind of what the title crawl was saying. About how the Trade Federation, they're twirling their stashes.
Fucking hell, dude.
The Trade Federation is now...
First time you see Dooku.
Yeah. we're an hour or something in. There has not been a single villain in this movie until now.
Besides Django?
Yeah. And so then he sees the Trade Federation, I think the Banking Clan, a bunch of other...
The Separatists.
Yeah.
So this is like the first time you hear the term separatist.
Yeah.
And I guess it's like an all-encompassing term for...
They're basically seceding from the Republic.
Yeah, and it's the Trade Federation, the Banking Clans. They call themselves the Separatists.
Yeah, and it's very interesting about... this is stuff I wish that we would have seen more of how this government is set up, where it's like, this faction controls this faction controls that. I would have liked to have seen stuff like that. Okay, like how does if the Banking Clan pulls out, how does that affect the money now?
The currency.
We don't get any interesting shit like
that. If that's interesting to you, there is a line way earlier in the movie that we kind of skipped over, but it explains why Padme isn't the queen anymore. Did you catch that?
Oh, about how she...
They do terms.
Yeah.
So she served her 2 terms as queen, and then she gave it up to the new queen.
I heard they almost amended the Constitution.
Yeah.
Little shit like that I think is cool. Wish we would have got more of that instead of some of the other things.
I mean, it's little world building stuff like that I like.
Yeah.
And there should have been more of it. There really isn't enough.
So he finds out what they're doing. He finds out that they've built this huge droid army. And...
Well, you find out that the Trade Federation and the Banking Clan have like separate droid armies, and they're going to combine them.
Yeah, and this is where he finds out about the Sith, right? Is this where they figure out that they... I'm trying to remember. It's because after he sees this, he sends the transmission back to them. Is this where he also tells them about... Oh, no, you're right. So yeah, so he finds out about the droid army. He goes to report back. He goes to his ship to let Dooku or Mace Windu and Yoda about what's going on. Tells them all the information, and then he gets... Well, no, he transmits it to Anakin.
It's too far of a transmission for him to send.
So he searches for Anakin.
I can message Anakin because he's on Naboo. He
not there.
He looks. He's like, he's not there. Then he's like, he's on Tatooine. What the blazes is he doing there? So then he sends a transmission to Anakin, which
in hopes that he would send it to them.
Well, he tells him in the transmission, Anakin, send this to the Republic.
We come to find out though that he gets attacked and that he gets captured
in the message.
Yeah. So he sends that message. That kind of ends his plot for a little bit, and then we cut to Anakin receives the mess. Oh, we have to go back.
We missed everything.
Yeah. So this is what we get.
So Obi-Wan is he says he's going to send a transmission to Anakin. Before we even see that transmission, we have to finish Anakin's subplot, which is his mom. So
he finds out where they are. He goes to the Lars. Man. Meets Owen and Beru.
And then Owen's dad.
Yeah.
Krieg Lars.
Yeah.
I think his name is.
Yeah, we get a nice...
She was my wife.
Yeah. Fucking Joel Edgerton.
Yeah, I guess we're stepbrothers. He says that.
Yeah. Nice little cameo.
Krieg...
And I hate how... This is just a little nitpick. I hate how they just keep, dicking him along when he gets there. Because he gets there, he meets 3PO, and 3PO's like... He asks him, "Where's my mother?" And 3PO's like, "We should go
inside."
And then he meets Lars, and Lars is like, "Let's go inside." Oh yeah, Owen. And then he's like, "Where's my mother?" He's talking to my father, and his father, "Hey, let's go." It's like someone fucking tell the guy that his mom's.
Yeah, they're dicking him around for a while,
and finally
they're probably nervous to tell him.
Yeah, they finally reveal what's been going on.
And I wrote this down.
Oh, okay.
I just thought this was interesting to me. Krieg Lars, the old. Patriarch Lars.
Yeah, with no leg.
With no fucking leg. He said to Anakin that him and 30 men, that's a lot of dudes, and you have to assume they're armed, go out to look for Shmi. Only 4 of them came back, bro. How dangerous are the Tusken Raiders?
I mean, I guess in Book of Boba Fett, they established that they are pretty skilled fighters, I guess.
I guess a bunch of farmers ain't gonna do shit again.
Yeah, who knows what kind of weapons they have.
Sure,
I don't know, but it is kind of weird. But so it's his wife. He misses her, wants to bring her back.
Well, Anakin says, "I'm gonna go find my mom," and Krieg Lars is like, "You have to accept that she's probably dead."
It's been a month. It's been a month. And they just have her as some kind of slave.
I don't know,
sex slave or something. I don't know.
But honestly, this subplot with Anakin is one of my favorite parts of the movie.
Yeah, And then because he basically tells Padme that he's and like they kind of have their send off. He gets on the speeder and it's fucking it's cool. And then I even like the shot because it's subtle, but it's him when he's talking to the fucking
the Jawas.
The Jawas,
dude,
yeah,
great.
It's the sun setting.
No dialogue, but you get what he's doing.
He's getting information. Like that's like the most subtle shot in all these fucking.
I love
movies.
It though. It really good. And before Anakin takes off, the Force theme plays, which is like the first time in the movie.
Yeah.
And then it cuts into Duel of the Fates.
Yeah.
Just for a quick scene when he's flying. You have a couple good shots. You got the one where he's like flying across the desert, the wide shot. Then it goes to the one with the Jawas, and it's like silhouetted.
Yeah,
it's really good.
Really good.
You don't need any dialogue. You get what he's doing. He's trying to find out where the fuck his mom is.
Yeah.
Then it cuts to him pulling up on the Tusken Raider camp or the sand, whatever you call it.
Yeah,
sand people.
There's like the dogs. He takes them out, sneaks into her.
Well, no, he doesn't really. He just the dogs are like fighting over some like bone, and he like cuts open the hut with his saber. Which I thought like they didn't hear that.
Yeah.
Whatever.
And then she's just fucking tied up
like Jesus, except reversed.
And you know what I always think about every time I watch the scene is that she must think like she's dead, like her son's fucking here, like.
Oh yeah.
You're like on the brink of death, and then your son shows up.
Because she probably thought she was never gonna see him again.
Yeah, she probably thinks like she's like, oh, I'm in heaven, like I'm dying, like. Because like I mean, that's every time I watch, that's just what I think. Yeah. I mean, I don't know, but.
No, yeah, I thought it was a good scene though.
Yeah, it is a good scene.
She tells, I really like this line. Like she's like, "I'm complete now."
Yeah,
because she saw her son again, and she tries to say "I love you," but she can't get it out. And
she dies, and
then you get some ominous ass music. Anakin looks up, and when he comes out of the hut, he takes out the two raiders and decapitates one of them.
Yeah,
and then you just get like the last shot you see is him swinging that bitch.
Yeah.
And you know he fucking absolutely fucked all of them up.
Yeah.
They don't show it. I don't know why.
Because they only want to show droids getting destroyed and clones that are faceless, but these are faceless sand people. I get like George Lucas doesn't want to show like, you know, the hero of the movie mauling all these fucking people.
But dude.
But that's the thing is that this movie is like a war movie at the end, and it's like I agree. I wish they would have shown.
They just showed a guy get decapitated.
Yeah, I wish they would have shown a little more. Yeah. So then it cuts back.
Just not even because I'm like greedy, but just to show off a little more of Anakin's skill.
Yeah, we don't
As
really
a fighter,
get. We don't
barely get it.
We don't get a lot. Yeah. And then I even like the shot though of him coming back even when it's daytime, and he has his mom and is all wrapped up on the speeder and he carries her, and I think that's even still a pretty good shot.
Then they have like a little funeral for her. Yeah,
and Anakin gets really like pick me where he like kneels down in front of it, like being real fucking extra. I get it.
I mean, your mom died, but
yeah, it's just he's really hamming it up.
Krieg had some good words to say.
Yeah,
you were a good partner that a man could have.
Yeah, and then basically we get him tinkering around with shit. Padme comes in, and things are always fixing things has always been easy. Like it's a nice little emotional kind of moment,
and then it just takes really bad turn.
Basically, she kind of coaxes it out.
She tries to like console him, but he like isn't having it.
And then he immediately goes into like I fucking killed all of them.
I killed the women, the children,
and she
all of them. They were animals. I slaughtered them like animals.
And he goes on this whole rant, and he sits down, and she sits down next to him, and she basically says like, "You're only human." What the fuck are you talking about? This dude just admit to like massacring these people, and then like she just is like,
yeah, the fact that she's okay with what he did is like,
and that's what I mean is that Padme or Natalie Portman just has nothing to work with. It's all just like It's all just like deflecting Anakin or consoling him,
or completely ignoring obvious glaring problems that he has.
Just like the direct, because I know she's a good actress. I've seen her in things.
She is a good actress.
And it's just like her line delivery, the chemistry. None of it is there, and it's really and like that's like I think this movie could be so much better if just the chemistry and the dialogue between them was just like a little bit better, because it just bogs it down. Yeah, so then we get that's kind of over, and then he gets the transmission, and then it's kind of like he reacts to the transmission and then he sends it, or is it? Do we see like we don't even really see his reaction? We just see the Jedi's react, Mason Yoda's reaction to it.
Yeah, we don't see him actually recording it. We just see them watching the message.
Yeah, so basically it's his message, and then basically Yoda and Mace are watching it, and he says, "There's a droid army. Fucking Count Dooku's here. All this other bullshit." Then he gets attacked.
And he tells them about the clone army, right?
That was earlier.
That was earlier.
Yeah, and they were like, "Oh, we talked about that." You know, yeah. Cool.
They don't care.
But then this is where we get the how can we have been so blind? The the fucking this has been going on underneath our nose. And Mace Windu says the line, "I think it's time we inform the Senate that our ability to use the Force is diminished." And I get it. I get what they're saying, like what it's implying that, like, okay, we didn't sense
but
this.
Even if that's true, why would you tell the Senate that? And Yoda even says, no.
Yeah, like we're not going to admit that we're incompetent.
Yeah,
like,
nah.
But then we get the scene though, where now they basically tell the chancellor and all the senators that this droid army has been formed, and basically. They're kind of.
If only there was a senator who could.
They're bickering about like they need to get this vote through.
If only Senator Amidala were here.
But that's the thing is that they're bickering about how they need to get this vote through. We need to pass the vote to have an army, right? And we could use the clone army, right? But Bale is with Padme, and she was going to vote it down. And he even says, "Let's not be so quick to like, to rush to war," but is essentially what he says.
Wait a minute. Holy shit. The Emperor's whole plan, it was 100% relying on Jar Jar Binks.
It was relying...
And that was something that wasn't even supposed to happen.
Well, and so this is where at this point, because this is where things get crazy... This is where I kind of wanted
in terms of the whole overarching
story, and this is where I kind of wanted to break some things down.
This is bad.
What is his goal in terms of the bounty hunter and killing Padme thing? Does he want?
I think the reason he wants to kill Padme is because she wouldn't vote for.
Yes, but
an army.
Did he want Obi-Wan to track Jango Fett to find the clone army? Because how would it have been revealed if he did not go to Kamino?
That's a good point. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because did he make this killing so convoluted that he would hope that the Jedi would, you know what I mean? Like, would capture her, then then you shoot your dart, and then they're going to track the dart? Like, is that his plan? Because how else? Because then it would just be like, the Chancellor would be how else would they discover the clone army? Would the Kamino?
Yeah, like let's say Obi-Wan never went to Kamino.
Yeah.
How the fuck?
Did they just give the Jedi a call like, "Oh, your clone army's ready"?
You know what? The only thing I could even think of is the Separatists would just attack Coruscant with their droid army, and they would be defenseless because they have no army. And then either the Chancellor would just bring up, like, I think we got an army that was made for us. Just make it even more obvious. Or the cloners would go to them and say, hey, your army's ready. Do you want it?
And that's the thing is
and the Jedi would be like, we didn't order a fucking army, but we need that shit.
No matter how you slice it, it just makes the Jedi look fucking stupid. Where it's just
absolutely.
Where it's just like,
no, but dude, his entire plot is dependent on Jar Jar giving him this vote.
Well, that's the thing is that because either he needed her to die, but then that's the thing though is
but then what senator would vote for it?
But then who would replace her? Because
Jar Jar,
she's the one who picked Jar Jar,
right? So would it be Jar Jar?
I don't think so.
It has to be.
I don't know
because he's from Naboo.
Yeah, I guess.
So the Queen would elect. The Queen has to elect the senator, bro, for their planet. It can't just be Bale.
But that's the thing is that she picked Jar Jar. Do you think the Queen would also pick who doesn't even know?
She probably would because she would trust Padme's fucking choice in him, right?
But I'm saying though, if she died the first time, we never got her to pick him,
right?
So I don't know.
But dude, Jar Jar was already on Coruscant, dog.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying.
It doesn't make sense.
Yeah. So his whole plan relied on Jar Jar Binks, And this is where you get the. So, like I was saying, Bale says like we shouldn't rush to this conclusion, and they kind of fucking ignore him, and because the blue guy's like, uh, like what would Padme do?
If only Senator Amidala
Yeah,
were here.
like what would she do? Like, and because they need someone because Chancellor the Palpatine says we need someone to because the blue guy says
To vote for emergency powers.
to grant you emergency powers, and then he's like, who would be courageous enough to do?
Padme would be, but she ain't here.
And so, and they both look.
But
at,
she wouldn't be though. She
and,
wouldn't vote for
and
that.
Jar Jar knows that. He's so like they make, and that's the thing is, it's just another dumbass because they're if they're really like this is her chosen delegate, like. In politics, usually you have the same policy fucking preferences, and they just literally like this one little fucking remark makes Jar Jar really fucking. Oh, maybe I should do this. Like,
He's an idiot.
And they literally look at the camera.
I know.
And they're like, "What would Pat?" And it's just like every time I watch that scene, I'm like, "What the fuck, dude?"
Yeah, dude.
Because it's just so. It's
So bad.
It's like. It's basically like George Lucas telling you, like, yeah, these people are fucking stupid.
I know.
And you're just like, all right.
You're like, you're right, George, they're stupid, but who can I relate to in this movie?
And it's just like, you're just watching.
Where's the smart character? There is none.
You're just watching this.
The smartest character in the movie is fucking Count Dooku.
Yeah, and you're just watching these fucking Palpatine just do his plan, and it's like nobody's stopping him. And you're just like, all right.
I'd like to give emergency powers to the Supreme Chancellor.
Dello Feligits.
Oh my! Is that what he says?
Yes.
Oh.
I had the subtitles on.
Oh my god! Because he's a
but so they go, and that's the thing, dude. Is he proposes this thing, and it's not even like
I can't believe he said.
So yeah, it cuts to the Senate, and it's like
you see Mace and Yoda. They go to watch.
Yeah, and he presents this thing, and there's not even like a vote. It's just everyone's like. Palpatine.
Also, I don't understand how the Senate works. You're telling me you only need one senator to vote for it?
Well, no, because they already established in Phantom Menace that she called the vote of no confidence, right?
Yeah.
And so so you needed that vote to go through, and then you also need a vote.
So you need a senator to start it, and then they all have to agree.
So yeah, then you need probably a majority vote.
Yeah, majority vote.
And then, but remember in Phantom Menace, so then. He got kicked out, so then they needed another vote to pick. So like, there's just no vote even in this. It's just like they're all and this is
they all start cheering when Jar Jar says that.
And I get it's supposed to be this like, oh my god, the government's fucking screwed.
Well, I guess they're trying to show that they're scared of the threat.
It's almost like a Julius Caesar kind of thing, where like, okay, like we need it. We're scared of the Star Wars. We're gonna put all of our faith in this fucking guy, but like this dude is literally getting cheers from everybody in the Senate. It's fucking crazy. Like they're just chanting his name, and then he goes up and he's like, I will accept this kind of thing. And then he makes his little speech, and
I think he even says like, I will reluctantly accept.
Yeah.
And I promise to relinquish my powers when this crisis ends. Yeah, okay.
And so then Mason Yoda basically are like,
I think the first, I think he says right away, like, with the first thing I'm going to do with these emergency powers is enact a grand army for the Republic.
Yeah. So basically, though, Yoda tells Mace Windu, Mace is like, I'm going to go get the rest of the Jedi that are around. We're going to go to Geonosis to save Obi-Wan.
Side note, Alex Jones really explains the politics of this, like, pretty condensely and well. I think. Even if it is a meme.
Yeah, and that's the thing is that this all just feels meme-ish, where it's just like it's not to be taken seriously.
I don't take it seriously.
And so, but Mace Windu basically says, "All right, I'm gonna go get the rest of the Jedi. We're all gonna Batman Arkham or Batman Dark Knight Rises style. Where all the Jedi are gonna go to this planet, and we're gonna go save Obi-Wan."
Well, Mace takes all the remaining Jedi to Geonosis, and Yoda says he's gonna go visit these cloners.
Yeah, maybe I can uncover. No, he just goes, gets his army. I love to like on Camino, like how they not only did they grow this army, build their armor, build their weapons, but they built them fucking unlimited tanks, unlimited like these giant cruise ships that are already like painted and everything. It's like holy fuck!
It's like an army on demand. Dude.
Yeah,
like the Republic didn't have to do jack. They just got handed an entire arsenal of weaponry, ships, Navy battalions.
Yeah,
I mean, everything.
it's crazy. And so then that kind of is that thing.
Like, can you imagine if if the war, like, if they didn't have the clone army and it was just the Jedi that had to fight the Separatists?
I mean, and that's the thing is, I mean,
Dooku even says it. This is what I don't understand, though, bro. Well, I guess I understand it. I mean, but so Palpatine just doesn't tell Dooku about the clone army.
no, I don't
So
think
Dooku
so.
just thinks that.
He thinks that
What
it's.
do you keep looking at up here?
What do you mean?
You keep looking at my forehead.
Oh, I don't know, dude. I was just looking at your hair.
Oh,
I don't know.
I thought there was something like on my face.
No, I would have said something, but
Anyway,
no, yeah, I think that what he's done, and Dooku is just under the impression that he's infiltrating the Republic and he's trying to start the droid army to overthrow it. I think
okay.
that's all he really thinks.
All right.
So yeah, so then we cut to Anakin and Padme are kind of bickering about if they should go save him, and now he wants to follow orders. And Padme, I like though, it shows how her initiative is like, well, I'm gonna go. Like, you have to protect me, basically.
So if you want to protect me, you got to come with.
And Anakin's like, oh, all right. And Padme's got the Riz, and then
yeah, no shit.
they go off, and then we get Obi-Wan in the just floating.
I love that shot.
I love how Dooku like is just kind of dicking around. Is like, oh no, this is.
I know, he's like fucking with him.
Yeah, like they like
this is a terrible mistake. Please.
Yeah, I must get you out at once, and Obi-Wan's not buying it.
Have them release you at once.
Yeah.
Like,
and so then they kind of go back and forth where he basically, we were talking about before how
it's a pity our paths have never crossed before,
Yeah.
Obi-Wan.
And then he brings up Qui-Gon, how he wishes he was here.
I could use his help right now.
Yeah, and
Qui-Gon Jinn would never join you.
yeah, don't
Be
be
so
so
sure.
sure. Yeah, and they kind of have that little discussion, and then he's like, "What if I told you that there was a?" And this is what bothers me too, is he tells them there's a Sith controlling everything, in the Republic.
Yep.
And it's like, don't you remember the one half of the Sith you killed 10 years ago? Like, and it's like, what happened to the other one?
On the one hand, Obi-Wan really shouldn't trust Dooku because he's the one that has him captive.
I get it.
But on the other hand, if he just stops and thinks for a second, what he's telling him lines up with what they already know.
And that's the thing, is that in Revenge of the Sith, they do become suspicious of it. You know what
yeah.
And so it's like, you knew about it this whole time, though. He told you. And then maybe you should look into the person who's just gaining power rapidly. Like, it's just like, they're so fucking stupid.
And where did this clone army come from?
It's just, they don't look into anything.
Like, it's so obvious what the Chancellor's trying to do here, dude.
Yeah. And there's just no real mystery.
It's obvious to the audience, but everyone in the movie, it's not obvious.
Yeah.
That's what annoys the fuck out of me.
Yeah.
It's like, you could clearly pick up on what's going on, but all your good main characters in the movie just don't get it.
Yeah. And it's not even like, I wish too that it's like, it was more just like, okay, like maybe it's not even set up in like pieces. It's kind of like you just see like, oh, this is the plan. Okay, I get it. And then it's not even like, okay, maybe we find out a little bit about the plan. There's just nothing. It's just, here's what's
So what do you think about the conveyor belt scene?
Okay, yeah, so they get to Geonosis, and they're basically like, all right, well, we need an action scene.
Yeah, that they need one.
And this is
nothing's happened in a long time.
And this is my problem with all the action scenes in these movies, is that it's just like, and I talked about this in The Phantom Menace, is that it's just like, there's nothing going into it that...
There's no stakes, my friend.
Yeah, think of like even...
There's an action scene just because they need an action scene.
Yeah, there's nothing about... They don't learn... Think about before every action scene.
Well, I mean, I guess you could argue Obi-Wan versus Django. Like, there was a reason for them to fight, right?
Yeah, sure. But that's the one scene where there's... In most of the action scenes in these movies, they're completely separate from the dialogue scenes. It's like a scene of dialogue and exposition and shit, and then it's like a whole nother scene is just like, think about like a good action movie, like
Indiana
Jones, where the whole action scene in when he goes to meet Marion, it's about the fucking medallion. It's the thing that he wants, it's the thing that they want, and they're both.
Or even in the beginning, when he's running away from the boulder, it's a nice little chase action sequence. But what does it lead to?
Him running into
the fucking guys that want the fucking.
There's no like emotional stakes in the fight. There's no clear villain that they're trying to fight most
They're
of the time.
just there to get Obi-Wan.
Yeah,
and they fail.
Yeah,
they get caught.
And like, it's just, I think there's just any good action movie.
Oh, and Anakin's lightsaber gets fucked up.
Yeah, it's just there's no
and
setup.
And 3PO.
What, you have to have your goof.
I hate all that bullshit.
And it's like, why is he even here? They just took him.
I get even R2 like wanting to go because R2 is always like never listened.
And he's helpful.
And he is helpful. But why did C-3PO go with? He should have just stayed on the fucking ship.
Or he should just stay on Tatooine.
Yeah. Why did they take him? I don't know.
Anakin just took him just cause. I mean,
the Lars family could have used him.
Yeah.
Like way more than Anakin. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. And that's the thing too, is it's so funny how he built this protocol droid when we learn now that there's like thousands of these things. It's like you could have just got any protocol droid.
I mean, it's impressive that a little kid built it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
From scrap.
Yeah,
so
the conveyor. There's the conveyor belt scene where it has nothing to do with the plot.
Yeah, Jango and the droids and the Geonosians capture them.
Yeah,
and then they put them in the arena.
Yeah, and this is also very weird where it's like, I love how Viceroy just wants Padme to die.
I know, the whole movie.
So bad.
Earlier in the movie, he asked Dooku, he's like, I'm not signing any treaty until that bitch is dead.
He just hates her, dude.
Don't worry, Viceroy. Yeah. I always keep my word or something.
Yeah, and like, during the thing, he's like,
shoot her or something.
Yeah, she can't do that. It's just like, my thing is, though, is that the guy, the Geonosian, like the tongue clicky guy.
Yeah.
I like their voice. I like their little alien language, but it's like,
and their weapons are kind of cool too.
Yeah, but he says this is an execution. This is the most convoluted execution I've ever seen.
Why didn't they just like shoot him?
I would have just preferred them to say like, oh, like we're gonna put them in the arena, like, you know, like, okay, like,
but why?
Like, you know, like, I mean, it's for entertainment. Like, you take away their weapons and stuff, and it's okay.
They're still Jedi.
Yeah, but like just setting it up as like, oh yeah, this is how we kill people around here. With this, like, it's just like, this is dumb.
And literally, there's no reason to have to put them in this arena, chained to pillars.
Yeah,
and let out these monsters.
I mean, it's cool. I think I like the way that, like, how each of them kind of figure it out. Like.
Yeah, no, it is cool.
Like she has the pick. She gets out of her shackle.
And she climbs up on the
pillar. Yeah, Anakin's like worried about her. I think she's fine.
Obi-Wan's like, she's all right, bro. Worry about your fucking rhino. Yeah.
And then Obi-Wan, he just dodges.
Yo, Obi-Wan was clean here. I gotta admit. The way he fights that fucking spider thing, dude. He's got like the spear.
That's the coolest.
Oh, bro, he fucking. Okay, I'm pretty sure Anakin like knocks the rider. Or no, was there a guy on top of one of the monsters?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, then there was the guy with the cattle prod who was poking at the monster. Obi-Wan just straight up like kills that guy.
Yeah, he takes his spear.
And he's fucking that thing up. He's like twirling it.
Yeah,
and like
I really liked it. It's a cool action scene.
And then
Mace Windu.
No, bro, like all so the two Jedi and Padme, they kill the monsters.
Yeah.
Well, Anakin,
he controls it basically.
He gets on it with Padme.
Oh,
and he gets a
we
blaster.
forgot about the best part where they're going out to the arena and they have their moment.
Oh, how could I forget, bro?
And
they play their theme and they get a nice little sloppy wet
and
kiss.
She finally admits her feelings.
I truly, deeply love you.
It's not good. It's not a good line. And then even when she hops on the monster in the middle, they have to have a quick smooch, you know.
In front of Obi-Wan, dude.
Yeah,
come on.
Well, no, he's still fighting, and then they have.
Okay, but that was risky as hell,
dude. They don't give a fuck. And then, I mean, look at Revenge of the Sith. Like when they first meet back up, they everyone like walks away, and they're like 20 feet behind.
Yeah, you're
and
right.
He runs up to her,
Right, dude.
And they like embrace. Whatever.
Oh.
Back to this movie. Yeah. So then they get on the thing. And then they get surrounded by all the droids, and basically Count Dooku's like, "Yep, time to die." And then fucking Mace Windu comes out. Yeah,
this party's over.
Yeah, basically.
Dang, Sam.
Yeah, and I mean, like, it's cool seeing all the Jedi come out, but once again, they're just kind of fighting nonsense droids, taking them all out.
I still love that shot of like that. All right,
All right,
we're back.
we're back.
Camera died.
Yeah. So yeah, we were talking about just the Jedi fighting
Yeah,
in
and
the
that
arena.
and that one Jedi that gets taken out by Jango
Yeah.
Fett, which is insane to me. Like, I hate when blasters like win.
Yeah. Then we were just talking about this while we were charging the camera. It was freaking. We get a shot of the Geonosians
Yeah,
worried about their weapon. We can't let them find our secret weapon, and then uh, uh, Dooku's like, "I'll take it," and then we just get a shot of it's the Death Star, and it's like, just does not need to be.
just doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make any sense. Like, why are the Geonosians designing this thing? I don't know. I mean, like you were saying though, like
that just proves that there is no plan, and there never was.
yeah. I mean, like you were saying though, is that I mean, it kind of makes sense because their ships are like that shape, but
Yeah.
I mean, it's just a very weird detail that did not like. It's like, look, it's the death. It's just so like okay,
It's pretty corny.
yeah, just a little on the nose, and then uh,
Yeah, so we get the final battle.
what? So then we get Mace Windu versus Jango Fett.
Yeah.
This guy that they wanted to capture and get information from, he just decapitates.
Well, I guess they got all the information they needed.
I guess so.
Yeah.
But yeah, so then they get cornered, and they're about like asking them to surrender, and then it's like, look, and the Yoda's there, and they pull up with the clones, and this is what I love about this shit is like the whole time they're like, we're not soldiers, and then immediately they just become like battle technicians, and Yoda's like, put a perimeter around
they're like they become like generals and commanders
and
instantly.
I get it's like their hypocrisy and shit like that, and
Yeah.
it's just like, holy fuck, they don't care about anything.
Nope.
No, and so yeah, then Anakin, and this happened earlier, but Anakin and Obi-Wan, they just get thrown new lightsabers. Like, yep, fuck your kyber crystal that you fucking made and all that. Yeah, it's just these were extra.
It's just for the time being.
Yeah,
I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, they look like they're like training lightsabers or some bullshit, but whatever. So yeah, so then
now you got this big battle on Geonosis.
Yeah, so clones versus the droids, and
big CGI battle.
Honestly, I did like kind of the ships like flying around, and you kind of
cool.
And so yeah, then eventually Anakin and Obi-Wan and Padme, they decide to go follow Dooku because they can't let him escape.
Mm-hmm.
While Yoda and Mace Windu are basically like leading this,
like running the army.
Yeah, like Mace Windu gets off his ship and just starts fucking like giving orders. Yeah, so they're chasing Dooku. Padme falls off the ship. Anakin fucking loses it. And it's like, we gotta like land, gotta save her.
Yeah. Land the ship now.
And Obi-Wan's like, dude, you gotta fucking chill. Like, I need you.
This scene bothers me to this day, bro.
Really? Like, it bothers you?
No, what I'm about to say.
Oh, okay.
They have Dooku in their sights.
Yeah.
Okay. And Anakin's like, take him down, shoot him. And then the pilot's like, we're out of rockets.
Yeah.
And it's like, don't you have blasters?
Only in this instance, yeah.
So that ship only is equipped with rockets that doesn't have a blaster?
I guess. I don't...
They could have shot him dead.
Yeah. Or just shot it down. I don't know. Yeah, so then Anakin and Obi-Wan have their bickering, and then finally Obi-Wan kind of convinces him.
She will do her duty.
Yeah, like it honestly makes sense. Like, he's emotional. Obi-Wan kind of makes him think a little bit. They follow him into the little cave where his ship is, and he's about to leave.
It's like a hangar, yeah.
Yeah, and they're gonna basically take him on together, and Anakin's like, nah, fuck that.
One of the dumbest things.
Yeah, and I mean, like, sure,
he does.
Like,
he's cocky, whatever.
Yeah.
But he runs at him.
Dude, I just have to say though, I just hate like the obvious not Christopher Lee fighting. It's just like the CGI head on him, and it's like, I get you wanted an actor that has like the screen presence of a Christopher Lee, but like the one shot where he's about to kill Obi-Wan, I don't know if like he's like barely able to lift it above his fucking. He's just too old to be doing this.
I love that shot too, where he's like cheesing when he's fighting Obi-Wan.
Oh yeah,
he's like,
yeah,
and then he like
mega cheese,
and then he like.
Just like
pokes him.
Yeah,
pokes him. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a little.
He gets him twice, like one in the arm and one in the leg. doesn't cut any limb off.
No,
Because he
but
can't, because Obi-Wan still has all of his limbs in New Hope, so that
yeah,
would make sense.
yeah. So we get kind of that's the thing is a lot of the fight with Dooku is just kind of zoomed out.
It's either a super close up on like Christopher Lee's face, or it's like really zoomed
So you don't
out.
see him, and
Yeah,
it's just like, and
but dude, like the fight in Revenge of the Sith is done a lot better.
it is.
Yeah.
I think they frame it a lot better. I think the effects are also just a little bit better than they are here.
Yeah.
But yeah, so then
So Anakin gets taken out.
Obi-Wan's about to get killed though after he gets cut,
Yeah.
and then he throws Anakin his lightsaber.
Well, Anakin like jumps up and is like,
Oh no, that's not what happened. He's about to get killed. Anakin comes in and saves him, and then they start fighting, and then Obi-Wan throws him his lightsaber.
I am a slow learner.
Yeah, and then their fight is just like, dude, when he cuts the lights, what the fuck is going on? It's just like there's like both like it's just
you don't know what's going. All you see is lightsabers.
And I get like this is honestly the first time he in any of the movies that's trying to be a little more like artsy, I guess, but it just feels very weird.
That fight was weak
because it's cause, you know if you notice it's Dooku's like just like swinging it over
he's like this,
like and it's just like the light and like they both have this look on their face like it's just like I'm like what the fuck.
Yeah, it's not good.
And then the way
he cuts his arm off,
dude.
He's just standing there waiting for him to do it.
I had to rewind it because I was like, wait a minute, because it's literally, Dooku does like a spin out of it,
yeah,
and then Anakin's like this, and then when Dooku comes back to strike him, he does this. I'm like, I had to rewind it.
No, yeah, it's literally like cut my arm off. Like
there's nothing, there's no like move to set it up.
No, not like Anakin does to Dooku.
Yeah, or Vader to Luke, like. Yeah, where he just kind of, that's a clean move.
So clean.
Even Anakin's
move was clean. Yeah. The way he cuts off both of his hands.
Yeah, this was just like, and it's so like zoomed out, they don't want you to really see it, and it's, yeah.
So he cuts his arm off, pushes him back.
So then Yoda comes in to say...
He's going to drop the fucking pillar on them.
No, that's later.
You're right.
Yeah, Yoda just comes in, and then they have this weird thing where like Dooku...
And like this bothers me too, dude. Like it's supposed to be this like epic moment when Yoda pulls out his lightsaber, but I just hate it so much. Yeah,
the music and everything, and
it's
the way it's like played for like, oh shit,
oh my god, yeah, it's supposed to be epic.
But to me too, it's just the most stupid fucking thing. Yeah, because it's like
well, no, they show off their little force powers first.
Yeah, they have their you know
he tries
match.
He tries to electrocute him. He just absorbs it.
Yeah, and so then Dooku's like, this can't be measured in our knowledge of the Force, but our
skill with the lightsaber.
Skill, and this is the thing is, I watched the originals and the prequels at the same time, like when I was growing up.
Yeah, me too.
And I remember Empire being the first movie I saw in video, and then I remember Revenge of the Sith being the first movie I saw on DVD or in theaters. And it's just like, I just never pictured Yoda or the Emperor as people who use lightsabers.
They don't need them.
They're just, you always just kind of, and also...
And I kind of hate that Dooku has lightning powers.
Yeah, it's, I don't know. So, but then, and think about it too, 20 years later, 30 years later, Yoda dies because he's so old.
Yeah.
30 years ago he was doing this.
Yeah.
Doesn't need his cane.
Yeah.
It's just for show.
Yeah.
It's like, what is the point of this even being Yoda at this point?
I don't know.
It's just, it makes no sense.
It would have made more sense for Mace to come in.
Yeah.
And say
I like,
and then you could have had a real duel.
Yeah, and that would have been cool, but like, and the way Yoda fights, I've always found it really dumb because it's just like
he just jumps around.
And that's the thing is like you're telling me like Yoda's that strong too for being that, like, I get he's strong in the Force, but physically
also,
where he's like
he's got like a mini lights.
Yeah, it's just the whole thing.
It doesn't make sense.
Stupid.
Yeah,
I don't like. I really just wish it would have been
and the way Dooku gets away too.
Oh yeah, he just like moves the pillar.
He's gonna fall, and because he knows Yoda's gonna save him.
Yeah, then he just quickly
just hops on his little ship. And
I really just wish it was kind of just flex Yoda's Force ability. That's what I want to see. I don't want to see him fight. Yeah. So then Dooku escapes. We kind of get and the battle concludes, and basically that's what I think Mace Windu says to him, we won the battle, or was it Obi-Wan?
The war has just started.
Yeah, and basically Yoda's like, we won. Like, what do you mean? This the the veil of the Sith has been unveiled. The war is just beginning. The Clone Wars has begun. We don't get to see any of it, but
Nope.
it's happening.
Yep.
Um,
And you get Anakin with his nice shiny new arm.
well, no, and then Obi-Wan is like, I think someone asked Obi-Wan, it might be Mace Windu, is like, where's Anakin? He's like, oh, he's escorting Padme back to Naboo. Dude, I forgot to mention really quick, like, so Yoda saves Anakin and Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
And they get up, Anakin has one arm.
I know what you're gonna say.
Padme just runs right past Yoda, and just like embraces Anakin, and it's
like a little too much.
It's like it's not even a little. It's like they're obviously everyone knows it, and even too, something we didn't mention before is when Anakin kills all the Tusken Raiders, Yoda has a vision of it.
Yeah.
He's like, something bad is happening.
He's in terrible pain.
And it's like, this is the shit you literally predicted would happen. And like, he doesn't give a fuck.
Nope.
It's just like, nobody cares.
Or it's not even like, I don't know if it's they don't give a fuck, but they almost act like there's nothing they could do. Like, oh, it's too late. That's kind of their attitude.
Yeah, it's insane. And I think they just kind of hope that like,
things are going to turn out.
Like, he's going to get like, he's going to become more mature. I don't really know what they...
Which he does in Revenge of the Sith, which is why when he turns... We'll get to that.
Yeah. Yeah, so then basically, Obi-Wan says he's escorting Padme back to Naboo. They're having their secret wedding with his, he's got his new arm. Fucking 3PO's there, R2-D2's there.
Isn't 3PO in his shiny new...
Yeah. And then we get the kind of quick at the end. We see the army forming.
It's fucking huge.
Huge army. Palpatine standing in front of the whole thing. And then you do have Dooku. There's that quick scene where he comes back and talks to him, like Master Tyrannus. Is that what?
Tyrannus.
Yeah, that's and basically, it's like, the war started. Our plan is fulfilled.
Yeah.
But Dooku does not know that he also started the clone army.
Does Dooku not know that he's Chancellor Palpatine?
I don't think so. Or no, I think he does know. Maybe.
I don't fucking think so, bro.
I don't
Revenge
know.
of the Sith.
Well, in the Revenge of the Sith, he looks at him like,
hello, you're just gonna let him kill me?
Yeah, I think he knows, but I just don't think that he knows that he's pulling all the strings. I think he just thinks, I don't know.
That's wild.
Yeah. But yeah, so then Obi-Wan, and they bring up too about how, like, do you believe that Dooku's control, or what Dooku said about, there's a Sith Lord, and basically Yoda's just like, he's a Sith, you can't really trust him. The seed is kind of their way, like, but then Mace is like, but we should keep a closer eye on the council. And it sets that up, but then we cut to the next movie. I'm jumping ahead, but it's like, are they keeping a closer eye on things? No, I mean, because there's a war going on, sure, but it's just like, there's just no consistency between the movies. But,
and then, I know this is for the next episode, but like, Padme and Revenge of the Sith, like, has nothing to do.
And it's
the
funny.
Only thing I think I even remember about her in that movie is that she always has something to say to Anakin about the war.
Well, that's the thing too, is they kind of set up in this one that she's kind of this badass fighter, has some kind of like,
she's brave,
she's brave, battle skill, and then in the next one, it's kind of, she's back to being like, just
housewife.
I mean, yeah, basically, like, she's just pregnant, no shoes on.
Well, yeah,
just walking around talking about the baby. Yeah. It's just they give Natalie Portman nothing to do in these movies.
It's pretty bad.
I think
that's Attack of the Clones.
Yeah, anything else you got that you want to mention or say about it?
The only thing I wanted to finish with is that it's better than I thought.
Yeah.
Than I remember it being. I think it is better than Phantom Menace.
So okay, what's your rating then?
5.
5? Oh, okay, dude. So yeah,
maybe 5.5.
That's exactly what I was gonna say. I think this is a 5.5. I know it sounds like we shut on this movie just as much as Phantom Menace,
but like, in all honesty, it's paced way better.
And it's like we talked about before, is that while I do think that there's more like
Jar Jar's barely in it, which is a good thing.
There's less of
even though he has one of the most important roles ever in the whole trilogy.
It's less of like the slapstick kind of humor too.
Yes.
And like I was saying before, they kind of pace out the like.
There's really like no slapstick, barely. I mean, I can't remember.
The C-3PO thing is like,
that's like the only thing.
Yeah. But yeah, so then they also like they cut the romance scenes with the Obi-Wan action to kind of, break it up a little bit instead of how it was in Phantom, where it's just all no action for 45 minutes.
Where Qui-Gon's just like dicking around with Lando.
I do think in this movie though that there's like more just like just logical stuff that's like wrong with it. I think where it's like okay, like you just have to keep buying in, and I think honestly that's the thing with these movies is that if you don't buy,
The logic,
which
it doesn't work.
but that's the thing is that I don't know how people can when there's it's just so much of like just bad things about it.
Honestly, this might be a hot take, but I think a lot of people glaze over the plots of these movies,
Yeah.
and they just focus on they. Well, first of all, they buy in,
Mm-hmm.
and second of all, they just focus on Anakin's turn to the dark side. That's like all anyone ever seems to
Yeah,
talk about.
exactly. But that's only in the last movie, and like once again, like we were
Well,
talking.
I mean, this movie does set up certain things.
Yeah,
I mean, he kills all those fucking Tusken
yeah.
Raiders.
I think it's just we were talking about off camera too. Is that it just Phantom Menace feels like a setup that doesn't really pay off to much, and then
And this one feels like a setup
this one feels
too.
like a setup too. It's like it just doesn't feel like there's no one has their own goals besides Anakin's goal is just to bone Padme.
What's the arc of the character in this
Yeah,
movie?
and that's and
What's Obi-Wan's arc?
it's really all just setting up to the last movie basically, which is unfortunate. But yeah, dude, like you said, that's Attack of the Clones, 5.5.
5.
Uh, so right now, slightly better than Phantom Menace. We'll
Not
do,
by much though.
yeah. I'm excited to watch Revenge of the Sith.
I don't know what I'm gonna give that. See, right now I have a preconceived idea what I think
That's
I
what I'm
should
trying.
give it.
That's what I'm trying not to do.
Yeah.
It's like I don't because I've seen that's the one I've seen the most
Yeah,
out of the
obviously.
prequels, and it's I will say like just off memory, it's a very easy watch compared
It
to
is.
these two.
It's very straightforward.
But yeah, I'm trying to go in with like just like a fresh perspective.
I think Revenge of the Sith is gonna have the strongest opening of the 3.
Oh, for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Phantom Menace is a slog fest.
Yeah.
Like really, it really is.
That movie does not pick up for me until like the pod race. I don't fucking know.
I mean, even like right, they do the pod race, right? And then they have to rush back to Coruscant, then they go back to Naboo.
Mm.
So yeah, I guess from the pod race on, it's decent.
Yeah. All right. I mean, yeah, man. I don't got much to say more about this movie. I think we covered what we want to. If
I think a lot of the bullshit with this movie is the first half,
yeah,
and then the second half, things kind of fall into place a little better.
it's basically, but it's just right in the middle. You have that the Jar Jar vote that like throws everything off for me about this movie.
And again, like you've seen this movie more.
Bale is right there, and he doesn't do anything about it.
You've seen this movie more recently than I, so for me, I completely forgot about the Jar Jar thing. Okay?
Yeah.
And after rewatching it, it's I'll never forget it.
Yeah,
like because that's such a
that
key
that might
part.
that might bring it down half a point. Just
Honestly,
for that.
no, seriously, because that is such a Palpatine's plan is relying on him
Yeah.
getting the emergency powers, and the only one who's going to give him the vote is fucking Jar Jar. Because Padme would not have done it.
Yes, or he has to find some other idiot that would do it. Basically, like I don't know.
Because Bale even said that he's not going to do it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's all I got, man.
Yeah, me too.
So if you guys have anything you disagree with, agree with, put it in the comments. We'll have a nice little discussion down there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got my usual things to plug: TikTok, the Film Slob. I got Letterbox, Dom the Bomb 123. Follow us on YouTube. You got anything, man?